arrest, abuse, and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 3090, Clarence versus Williams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Clarence, from what I've read, you and Miss Williams have known each other since middle school?
Yes, ma'am. Since middle school, we've known each other.
The papers suggest that sometime later, the two of you developed a romantic relationship and you started to live together in 2015.
Yes, ma'am. November 16, 2015.
And you have two children together.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
It appears that there was an incident in your home and you were arrested.
Yes, ma'am.
You were arrested for an assault. Was there a weapon that you were arrested for?
No, ma'am, there was no weapon I was arrested for.
It was just an assault?
Yes, ma'am, assault on family member.
Okay. So, Miss Williams, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
Because Mr. Clarence ultimately was acquitted of all of those charges.
Yes.
And that was after a trial.
Yes.
Mr. Williams says that as a result of your allegations, not only did he suffer damages himself, but he wasn't able to see the two children for a while because you had requested a restraining order, which was then granted, but later vacated.
It was a protective order, and yes, he...
And it covered the children?
Correct.
Just for my own information, how long, Miss Williams, did the protective order last so that Mr. Clarence couldn't see the children?
It was for 3 years, but he was able to see the children through visitation.
But how long was it that he did not see the children because of the protective order? Because that's part of his lawsuit.
Okay, so it was...
Mr. Clarence, how long in actuality was it that as a result of the restraining order, you could not see the children?
2 years.
2 years?
Mm-hmm.
That you didn't see them at all?
At all.
It was 2 years.
Okay. So you were living in a home together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
On Valentine's Day, there was an argument.
Correct.
You called the police.
Correct.
The police responded and told you to leave the house for a while.
Yes.
And you did leave the house.
I did leave with my daughter.
But you have two children.
2 children because they told us that we had to split children, or one stays with the other parent, the other one comes with me.
Okay, so you have 2 kids, a girl who's how old?
She was 2 at the time.
And a boy?
He was 4 at the time.
So the boy stayed with his father.
Mm-hmm.
And you left with your daughter overnight.
Right.
Did you come back?
The next morning, yes.
She actually came back that same time at 2 a.m.
Well, the next morning, that's 2 a.m.
At 2
Don't interrupt again.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So you came back early in the morning.
Yes.
And what happened when you came back?
I stayed in my vehicle with my daughter because I didn't want to go into the apartment. And then...
Eventually, you went into the apartment.
Yes.
What time did you go into the apartment?
Which was 7 o'clock in the morning.
And that was on the 15th of February.
Correct.
Who was home when you got home on the 15th of February?
It was Devon and our son.
Was there any problem on the 15th?
The 15th was when me and him had got into it as far as not verbal altercation. He didn't like what I had said to him, and we just started going off, and he came to a point where he just got mad and said, well, you know, why would you say anything like that? You know, I don't care about you. And then we started getting into another argument. Then that's when he had brought out a knife and put it on the kitchen counter and said, if you want to kill yourself, go ahead. I don't care.
did not say
Okay,
that.
just a second. That was the 15th.
Yes.
Miss Williams, you know, most couples have arguments.
Mm-hmm.
So something had to have precipitated his statement because according to what you just told me, Mr. Clarence didn't take out a knife, according to what you said, and threaten you with it. He said to you, according to you, if you want to kill yourself, here's a mechanism to use it. What had you said to him immediately prior to that that inspired that? He told you he didn't love you anymore, he didn't want to be with you anymore, and?
And that's when he said he didn't care.
He didn't care, and you said...
And so that's when he had took out the
He
knife.
said he didn't... No, you had to say something to him that says, well, if that's the way you feel, you go kill yourself. But you had to have said something to him before.
Right. It was the argument started with the kids, but then when he said that, you know, I didn't want you here anyway, you know, it's just, you know, the relationship is pretty much dead, so there's no reason to stay. And if you want to leave, you can leave.
Is that what he said to you, or is that what you
I
said
said to him.
Oh, you said to him. Okay. And then?
And then that's when he said, well, you know, I don't love you no more. I don't care for you. You know.
You said that. And then what happened?
And then afterwards, that's when he had went in the kitchen, because I barely remember what happened after that. Because all I know is just that when he had went into the kitchen, that's when he came back and said,
okay,
you know, you can kill yourself.
Do you recall taking a knife and putting it either on a counter or on a tabletop and saying, if you want to kill yourself?
No, ma'am, I don't recall that.
Okay. But at that point, the police were not called. This was the day after the police had been called. This is February 15th. And Mr. Clarence left the house.
Right.
Right.
So
he left on the 15th. Did he come back?
A week after.
So he was gone for 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to the 20th. Did you communicate with him during that week?
Yes.
By phone?
Yes, text message.
Do you have copies of the text message?
I do not.
Do you have copies? I'd like to see the messages that were
So this is the first
traded
on February.
in that week's period of time. He's standing there and you're pushing him.
Yes, push.
Devon Clarence claims his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, owes for a false arrest, abuse, and emotional distress. Safari is countersuing for assault and defamation.
Okay, so this is February the 19th.
Mm-hmm. And I also do have my
Just-
text messages pulled up here on my phone. I don't
What?
get a hard copy.
Okay, good. Tell me if this is what it says. You say to him, I need my keys ASAP, please. That's a week after he left.
Correct.
What keys had he taken from you?
He had taken my house key and my mother's home key. It was on my keychain.
Okay. How did you get into the house for a week?
I never left because he had it.
You mean for a week you weren't out of the house at all?
At all. I had my kids. I lost my job. So I was at home. I had no reason to leave, really.
Just a second. When did you lose your job?
I lost my job a week prior because of the money he had taken out of the account that I was going to pay for to insure my job, because I had little legal issues with my job.
Well, tell me about that. That's not in here.
Yeah.
As far as,
Losing your job had nothing to do with him.
no, it had everything. Because the reason being is the fact that I didn't have the money, because I was a delivery driver. So I had to pay off a certain citation that I was cited for.
What? What citation that you were cited for?
It was speeding citation.
So you got a speeding ticket, which you had to pay. He didn't force you to speed. You did that yourself.
Right. However,
Okay,
I had
so,
to...
and you can't be a driver if they're going to take away your license.
That was the thing. So I had needed the money. He had taken that money out of there and used it to pay somebody else.
I don't know what you're talking about. Taking it out of where? A joint account?
Out of a joint account. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The reason you lost your job had nothing to do with him. The reason you lost your job is because you drove in a way that you got a speeding ticket. Now let's get back to the 20th. So you needed your house keys and your mother's house keys, which he had taken with him.
Yes.
Did you take the house keys?
No, ma'am. The keys that were inside the house were to her mother's house, but her mother had changed the locks previously before. So really, they were just throwaway keys, and the keys were just sitting inside of my glove box for months.
But you went by and you returned the keys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He had
Now I
taken
want
those
you to... What?
keys. He had taken those keys prior.
I did not.
Because he's always taking things of my possession.
Okay.
That's not true.
So
You
yeah.
asked him for your keys back, which means that during that interim period, the only text messages I see here, you asked him to come back to the house and bring you your keys. And I assume, since there is no history, that your mother's never had a history with him.
Oh, yeah.
A violent history?
It's not a violent, but more so, she had her issues. They both had
I don't
the
care whether they
issues.
had their issues. So if you needed your keys back, he could have dropped them off at your mother's. He didn't have to bring them to you.
But she didn't allow him on the premises, that's why.
Well, why would you have invited him back on the 20th if you had such a miserable experience on Valentine's Day?
I didn't expect for him to sit there and...
There was an alternative. But he came back on the 20th with the keys. Now, I want you to tell me on the 20th, because this is your counterclaim, you actually claim that he assaulted you. So I want you to tell me what happened on the 20th.
The 20th, I had asked him for my keys back.
Yes, and he
So
came over.
He came home from work. He had dropped off the key, came in, said hi to the kids, tucked them in bed. I was in a room, but that day I wasn't feeling good. So I had to just, excuse myself to go to the bathroom. So I come back out, I see my phone being tossed on the bed by him as he was sitting there reading messages or whatever. So I didn't say anything about it. He just said, okay, I'm about to go. I said, okay, cool. And he kissed the kids and walked out.
So he kissed the kids and he walked out. He walked into what room?
He walked from the back room, our room where we were sleeping at, me and the kids, and he walked to the front door, out the door. So what happened was...
No, look here.
Yes,
He's leaving.
He's leaving.
And?
In a few moments, he had called me, and he asked me, what time is your job interview for the next day? I told him 8:30, and I asked him why. He said, well, I'm moving out. I'm getting all my things out of the house while you're there. I said, okay, well, why? Because the front office is not going to just let you off the lease, you know?
Well, you want to stay. He hadn't been there for a week.
For just a week, yeah. But I'm just asking because I don't know how we were going to go about it. So that's when he had told me, don't act like I ain't seen you, you ain't seen me reading your messages. I'm tired of you disrespecting me. I'm tired of you disobeying me. I'm tired of you, talking to these dudes or venting and blah, blah, blah. Like, just going at me as if I'm disrespecting him. At this point, you left. So therefore, if I'm talking to a friend, what's the problem? Why are you looking through my phone? And this is nothing that you paid for.
That's true. Snoopy.
Yeah, so you're snooping around. So at this point, he's mad because of what
But he's not in the house.
Yeah, he's not in the house. So afterwards, I say, if you want to leave, stay gone. I don't even care. He hung up in my face. I said, okay, I don't have time for this mess. So I go in the back room, get ready for bed. I put my phone on the charger, and I lay down, and he's knocking on the door really hard. Kids sleep. So I go to the front door, and that's when he opened the door, and he just, like, in my face, like, don't be disrespecting me, don't be doing that. And I'm just like, okay, bro, you need to get out of my face, first of all. And he just said, okay, well, you know what? Forget it, I'm leaving. I'm just gonna pack my stuff up and I'm leaving. The whole time he's like packing his things in the
Okay, so he's packing.
Correct. So when he packed his things, he was just, talking, and he went in the back room. And that's when I had followed him in the back room because he was gonna take my things. And then that's when he had came out and said, good luck finding your phone charger. Where's my phone charger? Because it's not on the bed. Where's my phone charger, bro? So I blocked him so he could give me my things. And he said, I don't know. I don't know where your phone charger is. Devon, where's my phone charger? I don't know. Now move. And he did a shoulder thrust. So I'm like, okay, bro. I grabbed his lanyard. He had his work ID. I grabbed his lanyard from around his head.
So you put your hands on him. Just a second, you put your hands on him because the lanyard, that's what it says here.
No.
No, that's what it says in your papers. You acknowledge that.
Oh,
that
so okay.
You grabbed his badge, but his badge was on a lanyard that was around his neck. So you put your hands on him.
So yeah, so it was more so to take his things so he could give me back my phone charger. I need it for my job interview.
So you never connected with him in anything that you did. So
Devon Clarence is accusing his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, of a false arrest after she assaulted him. Safari claims Devon assaulted and defamed her.
So you grabbed his lanyard, which was around his neck.
It was around his neck, and I took his glasses off his face.
And then what happened?
And then that's when he had turned around, dropped all of his things, and he turned around and he started tussling and then try to get his things. So I said, no, give me my
just a
phone
second.
charger.
So far, what I'm hearing is there was lots of nasty stuff going on. He's packing his things, giving you the best possible scenario. He took your phone charger. You didn't see him take your phone charger, but it was on the bed, according to you, and then it wasn't on the bed anymore.
Correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So in response to that, you put your hands on him twice. Once with a lanyard that had his badge on it.
Right.
And then you grabbed his glasses off his face.
But never hurted him. Never.
Just a second. You put your hands on him. Not in a happy way. You put your hands on him in an aggressive way.
No.
Because, oh yes, if you grab somebody's glasses off their face, madam, and grab a lanyard from around their neck, that's aggressive. He may not have been hurt as a result of that, but you have to know you're not allowed to put your hands on somebody else in anger.
It was not angry. I took him. I didn't touch him or hurt him. It was never aggressive. I just wanted my things back, and I didn't touch him or choke him or anything.
I got it. I'm just telling you what the law is. You put your hands on him in an aggressive way because you wanted your charger back,
Okay.
which he had taken, but he had not taken off your person. If he took it, he had taken it from where you left it because he was annoyed that you were texting other guys, according to you, because he had been gone for a week. You can text whoever you like. Okay, so now you've taken his glasses off and you've taken his badge off, which was on a lanyard. What happened next?
After he turned around and he
Started to tussle with you, which is
tussling
what
for
you
his
said.
things, and then afterwards we fell over the couch. And at this point, he had his forearm on my neck, so at this point, I can't breathe.
No, ma'am.
I told him, get off of me. Devon, you're hurting me. You're choking me. I cannot breathe. Please get off of me. Get off of me.
He's on you with his
forearm.
with his forearm on your neck.
Yes.
And
so at this point, he gets his things. He grabs his stuff.
okay, so he not choking you anymore. And
He gets up and he
look at me.
put his glasses on. And then at this point, he's standing over me. I'm still on the floor, and I'm telling him to get off of me. Well, not
No,
get
he's
off of me,
already
or get
off
away
of you.
from me.
He's already off of you, Miss
Yes.
Williams. He's gotten his things. He put his glasses on, which means both hands were
Correct.
putting his glasses on. So he's not
standing
on
over
top
me.
of you anymore.
But he's standing over me.
So
I
he was
just-
standing. And
I push him away. I said, get out, get out. I don't want you here. Get out, please get out. So at this point, I'm shoving him away from
okay,
me.
so again, he's standing there and you're pushing him.
Yes, pushing
Go
him
ahead.
off of me. And then that's when he did a close fist and hit me right here on the side of my face.
Okay.
So I passed out. I didn't know, I blacked out. And then after I had gotten up and I cried, I said, why did you hit me? Why would you hit me like this? Like, why? And then he just kept going back and forth. So I
Back
get
and
up.
forth where?
From the front door to the back room to the front door.
Was he taking his things out?
I don't know what he was taking.
Okay, so he's
at
going
this
from the
point.
back door to the front door, but he had packed his things.
Right.
Okay.
So I get up, and that's when he turned around, and I can't, right now, I'm imbalanced. I can't even stand up right because he whacked me so hard. So at this point, he stood up and said, you want to fight me? Fight me.
Not true.
And he put up his hands, so that's when I put up my hands. And then I went to hit him, and then that's when he had started throwing punches at me, like back to back to back to back. And I busted my lip, so...
Okay, so let me understand this. You both got up, and he said, you want to fight me? So you put up your hands, both of you put up your hands, and you went to punch him. That's what you just told me. Missed, I assume.
Missed.
And then he hit you.
Yes.
Okay, so again, you went to punch him.
And I missed, and that's when he...
Okay, fine. Now I got it. And then,
And then that's when he started hitting me.
okay, so
Rolling
now
punches.
now you're fighting.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I told him to stop as soon as I saw blood was everywhere, literally on the wall and the floor. And he stopped.
But let me ask you this question. From all this fighting and tussling, was Mr. Clarence visibly hurt anywhere?
No.
Did he have any mark whatsoever? No. So you never connected with him in anything that you did. So far, correct?
No, ma'am. I had scratches on my neck, and she did not throw her, put her hands up to fight me. She actually threw a car battery at my hands.
No, that is so untrue.
I have pictures of the car battery and it being broken, if you would like to see that.
Okay, I'm going to get to you in a second. Anyway, that's when he left. Did you go to work?
No, ma'am.
What did you do?
So I had to go sleep in my car because I didn't have my glasses.
Where were your glasses?
Inside the house.
So you left without your glasses?
Yes, ma'am.
He had his glasses on that night, the whole time.
Is that what your testimony said?
Shh, shh.
I'm sorry.
I'm not there with you.
Okay. When did you call the police, Miss Williams?
I didn't. He took my phone.
Okay.
He had
Well,
taken my phone.
somehow the police were contacted.
I don't know how they were contacted. I had to escape him.
When you escaped him on the 20th, did you take your children?
I took them. Yes, I did.
Was he in the house?
He was inside and out of the house. So, Yana,
Yeah.
can I add one more thing? So after all that happened, that's when he did leave. I had the opportunity to get his clothes. I put his car battery in the hamper that he was packing his stuff at, threw it outside of the apartment, and then I closed the door, locked it so he wouldn't get in. So at this point, I'm looking for the phone to call the emergency services. However, he goes up to the window and says, "Looking for this?" And it was my phone. So I had to find another device in the house to try to at least get a recording or to find something to say, I had to verify this because I feel like nobody's gonna believe me even if I was, if I made this up. So I had to record it off my son's tablet. I have a video of the injuries of the night that it happened.
Well, you have hospital records because you say that you went to the hospital the next day.
Yes, ma'am, I did. I went to the hospital and they diagnosed me.
No. I want to see the hospital records.
Yes, ma'am.
One.
I'm scared. He is crazy. He is really, really crazy.
Would it be a fair statement that you did, in fact, punch her in the mouth?
She grabs me by my shirt and she pulls me into the house and starts punching me.
Wow.
I was like, you know what? That's it. And I started going back at with her.
It was nasty. That's what happened. And that's outrageous.
This is Judy Justice. Previously on Judy Justice.
What happened next?
After he turned around and he
Started to tussle with you, which is what you said.
And then afterwards, we fell over the couch. And at this point, he had his forearm on my neck, so I can't breathe.
No, ma'am.
I told him, "Devon, you're hurting me. You're choking me. I cannot breathe. Please get off me. Get off me."
He's standing there, and you're pushing him.
Yes, pushing
Go
him
ahead.
off of me. And then that's when he did a close fist and hit me right here on the side of my face. So I passed out. And then after I had gotten up, he stood up and said, "You want to fight me? Fight me."
Not true.
Now you're fighting.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I told him to stop as soon as I saw blood was everywhere, literally on the wall and the floor. And he stopped.
But let me ask you this question. From all this fighting and tussling, was Mr. Clarence visibly hurt anywhere?
No.
So far, correct?
No, ma'am. I had scratches on my neck, and she did not put her hands up to fight me. She actually threw a car battery at my hands.
I had to find another device to try to at least get a recording. I had to verify this because I feel like nobody's gonna believe me even if I made this up. So I had to record it off my son's tablet. I have a video of the injuries of the night that it happened.
Well, you have hospital records because you say that you went to the hospital the next day. I want to see the hospital records.
And now, the conclusion. Devon Clarence is suing his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, for a false arrest and an assault. Safari is countersuing Devon, claiming he assaulted her.
Okay, so you weren't admitted to the hospital. You were just seen by somebody the next day. What time the next day?
It was around 11, 10 o'clock. My mother had taken me to the hospital.
How did you get in touch with your mother?
After I left the house,
Well, how did you leave the house? Right now, he's locked out. You locked the door. And you're looking for something to record him. Mm-hmm. And you found something to record him.
Which was my son's tablet.
And
that's when I went into the living room. I brought my kids to the living room with me, and I had to wait it out because I didn't want to go out there like he was just going crazy, like monstrosity. But I was afraid to go out there. So that's when I had locked in. I locked myself in, waited until the morning. He cannot go 24 hours without going to sleep. So I said, I'm going to take my advantage, wait till he goes to sleep. And he went to sleep in his car. And I got my keys, and I grabbed my two kids, barefooted and all, no clothes. And he had set the alarm.
Just a second. So you grabbed your kids and took them out to your truck.
Yes.
And drove where?
I drove to my auntie's house.
At what time? This is on the 21st?
Yes, the 21st. It was around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
And you drove to your aunt's house, and what did you do?
I went into my auntie's, and she called my mom. When she called my mom, that's when my mom had came over to her house and saw the injuries. And she said, "We need to go to the hospital because we don't know how bad or how severe your injuries are." So that's when I was like, okay, I can go to the hospital. And she drove me there. I couldn't make a police report or assault report with the hospital because they were going.
No.
counties and stuff,
You
so-
can't tell me what happened at the hospital that you couldn't.
Right.
You went to the hospital.
And then
Weren't admitted. You were seen by a doctor.
I was
Go
seen
ahead.
by the doctor. I wasn't, in fact, admitted.
If you were admitted to a hospital, I want to see those medical records.
Okay.
This isn't a medical record. This is a one-pager on a visit that you had where you complained about an assault, and the doctor did notice some abrasions on your face.
Okay.
Doesn't say you were admitted anywhere.
I'm sorry, I don't have that one on me.
Okay. So now let's move on. So you drove your kids about 10 miles to your aunt's house. You stayed at your aunt's house for a while. Your aunt called your mother. Your mother came and said, I think we should go to the hospital and check out your injuries. And
that's when
I want to know how the police got involved.
So the hospital called the police.
So you're saying it wasn't you, the hospital called the police, so the police came to the hospital?
The police came, but they wasn't able to. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was one of a county issue with the
You want to tell me?
situation. Yes, she'll be able to tell you better.
So, Judge, when we went to the hospital, so the hospital is between Harris County Sheriff Department and HPD. So when we...
Well, he was arrested somewhere. So
Right.
he
So
was
what
arrested
you-
somewhere. On
Right.
what date were you arrested?
I was arrested on February 24th, so 4 days after this incident.
Okay. I assume you asked your daughter what happened when you, either driving to the hospital or when you got to your sister's house.
Yes.
At the time you asked her what happened, did she tell you that they had been in a fight?
Well, I could see they had been in a fight.
Well,
But...
no, there's a difference between a fight, which is mutual combat,
Right.
and an assault, which suggests that there was only one victim
Right.
and one perpetrator.
Yes.
So what I want to know is whether your daughter discussed with you the facts that she's just relayed to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a question, not a ha-ha.
Right.
Did she tell you that they were fighting?
Yes, she did.
Did she tell you that she at any point put her hands on him?
No, and she didn't because her mouth was so bad. She
Just
really
a second.
couldn't explain
She
it.
did. She just told me.
Yes, but she didn't explain it to me that way.
I know, but she just explained it to me that way. I'm not putting a judicial imprimatur on anybody's assaultive conduct.
Right.
But you have to understand that in a fight, somebody ends up at the bottom of the barrel and somebody at the top of the barrel.
I agree.
Devon Clarence has accused his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, of reporting a false arrest after she assaulted him. Safari claims Devon assaulted and defamed her.
You did hear your daughter testify that at some point he got up and she went to throw a punch at him and missed.
Right.
And then he punched her and he continued to punch her. You did hear that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, now I'm going to see a video.
Just press play.
Devon is hitting me. I have no phone. He took my phone. He took everything, and I'm helpless. So I'm trying to get out of here, but I need proof. This is proof. He's hitting on me. I have blood everywhere. I have blood everywhere. Oh my God, I'm scared. I'm scared. He is crazy. He is really, really crazy.
Okay. Would it be a fair statement, Mr. Clarence, that you did in fact punch her in the mouth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I want you to tell me, because I see she's injured, her mouth is injured. I want you to tell me in your own voice what precipitated that, because that's a nasty hit in the mouth.
So when we flipped over the couch, I stood up, and she says that she pushed me off, but she actually reached her hands up and grabbed me by the testicles, and that's when I punched her. Right after punching her, she let go. I ran to the door. When I ran to the door, she followed behind me with a car battery. She picked it up, and she tossed it in my direction, which caused for me to have an injury to my hand.
You have photographs of that?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
That's not true. It's just the battery.
Just
This was taken a couple days afterwards when the
By
swelling
whom?
went down.
By whom?
by me.
Is that the only injury that you sustained?
No, ma'am. I also from when she was choking me with my work lanyard. I also have pictures of my neck
Okay,
that was
let's-
taking that next morning.
I'd like to see it.
Untrue.
Don't speak. Don't speak. You're talking about this cut?
Yes, ma'am.
And where was that?
That's on my neck. That was right here, across the front.
Oh, I see. Okay. Go ahead.
So when we were tussling, so she threw the car battery at my hand. I look down at my hand. I look at the broken doorknob. And when I'm looking at the broken doorknob, I look back up.
Which doorknob is?
The front door. Well, from when I grabbed the door, and when she tossed it, it hit my hand and slammed the doorknob down.
Okay.
So I look down at my hand and I see nothing but white inside of my hand. My hand was bleeding. Well, was about to start bleeding, but I saw the white, I saw the bone, I saw everything. So I looked up and I was like, what did you do? Are you crazy? And at that point, she says, I don't care anymore. She grabs me by my shirt and she pulls me into the house and starts punching me. Oh. At that point, when she starts punching me, I was like, you know what, that's it. And I started going back at with her.
No.
After punches were exchanged, I left.
Judge, those are the punches on the video that he did.
Just a second. I saw that she had an injury. He acknowledges that he hit her in the mouth.
So what I want to also add to that, because I saw him that same morning, I talked to him. He claimed at 7 o'clock in the morning he was on his way to a funeral. I told him, I said, well, look, I just spoke with my sister. I'm going by and get the kids some stuff. Don't come to the apartment. He shows up, nothing wrong. I didn't see a scratch anywhere. And I asked him, why are you here? Well, I'll just come let you know that I filed a police report. Why are you here?
Shh, just a second. So he filed a police report. Can I see a copy of that police report? Do you have it?
I do not have a copy of the police report.
So after he told you that he filed a police report, you went back to your sister's house. I assume you got...
No, I hadn't went to my sister's house. So my sister called me.
To go get things... Just a second. Look. Mm-hmm. Your sister called you and told you that your daughter was there with your grandchildren.
Right.
Could you go and pick up things for them?
Right.
So you drove over to the apartment where they had lived together.
Right.
He came.
Right.
Said, I've just filed a police report against your daughter.
Right.
Then you went to your sister's house and you decided to go to the emergency room of the hospital.
Yes.
And then you filed a police report, or your daughter did.
We didn't file it at the hospital.
No, I didn't say at the hospital. Subsequently, you filed a police report.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a copy of that police report?
I have my affidavit.
No, I don't want an affidavit. I want
we should have
a copy of the police report.
Let me see.
That's it.
Okay, Kevin.
Alongside with my injuries that...
I saw your injury. Well, this police report, the charge is assault of a family member impeding breathing.
Yes.
And the affidavit reads, defendant on or about February 20th did then and there unlawfully, intentionally, and knowingly cause bodily injury to Safari Williams, the complainant, with whom the defendant had a dating relationship by impeding the normal breathing and circulation of blood by applying pressure to the complainant's throat. Okay.
So right here, I have a copy of the motion to dismiss, which shows that they dropped the impeding breath, showing that I did not choke her.
That we know. The case was dismissed. Do you have a copy of the visitation order? You don't have joint custody because you indicated you had joint custody.
We have joint custody now.
When were you granted joint custody?
August 1st.
Was that after the mediation?
After the mediation, yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Williams, did you consent to the joint custody? Or did the mediator, after the trial, recommend joint custody?
Yes, I did consent to it.
You did? And that was the mediator's recommendation?
Correct.
Okay. The only thing I have to ask you, Mr. Clarence, is for what period of time from the 20th of February, was it until August or October that you didn't see the children?
So actually, it wasn't actually until that June. Orders were signed October. She failed to sign the children up for the domestic relation office for the supervised visitation. She failed to sign them up for another 6 months.
Not true.
That's
So it was an additional 6 months.
an additional 6 months.
Okay.
Judge, during that time where he was saying that he was trying to see the kids, he wasn't paying child support.
I don't care whether he was or whether he wasn't. I wouldn't pay child support if I had an order that said I couldn't see my children. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But it wasn't one of those keep the children type things away. It definitely wasn't. And when
Miss Williams, Miss Williams, I'm done with this case. I got it.
Devon Clarence claims his ex-fiancée, Safari Williams, owes for a false arrest, abuse, and emotional distress. Safari is countersuing for assault and defamation.
While he has many causes of action in his complaint, the only one that I find actually viable, because they did, in fact, both of them engage in domestic violence against each other on February 20th. This is not a I say, you say. This is
because I went into the apartment and he had tape. He had electrical tape on the door. He kept my door there all night.
I want you to not speak. I want you to listen.
Okay.
I'm finished with the fact finding in this case. Your daughter and Mr. Clarence had a domestic incident on February 20th. It is clear to me that your daughter got the worst of the physical bargain, but she was, in fact, the aggressor. She did, in fact, put her hands on him first. I'm not asking you a question. I'm telling you, based upon what she told me, she put her hands on him first, twice. They had a fight. It was unpleasant, and she ended up certainly more injured than he did. It was nasty.
Yes, it was.
There is not a scintilla of evidence that Mr. Clarence should have been denied seeing his children as a result of a restraining order for over a year.
He wasn't
there.
denied.
Just a second. Sit. Now you don't get it.
Okay.
Now you don't get it. I'm not listening to you. Now I'm ruling. There is not a scintilla of evidence that Mr. Clarence, who lived with these children for 4.5 years, who took care of them regularly alone, should have been denied seeing his children for over a year. And that's what happened because she asked for a restraining order that included the children. That's what happened. And that's outrageous because two adults who have children can fight with each other and they can be angry with each other and they can be vicious with each other, which they were, but they created two children. And the proof of the pudding is in the tasting because after it was all said and done, Mr. Clarence has joint custody of the children. So for a person that went from not being able to see his children then to supervise visits because that's what he asked for. And that took an additional 6 months. That is an outrageous outcome. Outrageous. Because I know that you would think it was outrageous if Mr. Clarence prevented your daughter from seeing the children for 2 days, for 1 day. I would think it was outrageous. And in this country, mothers and fathers have the same rights to children. Not they're her children or his children, they are their children. And if she feels threatened by him and had a protective order, that's okay. But then you are cooperative with regard to seeing the children, either in a supervised manner or some other manner. But asking for a restraining order that includes the children when there was never any indication that Mr. Clarence was an irresponsible parent is outrageous. I find that on the cross-complaint for assault, I find that Miss Williams was, in fact, seriously injured in her mouth as a result of this altercation. I also find that she was the provocateur because she put her hands on him first. So I'm dismissing your cross-complaint and I'm granting your complaint, Mr. Clarence, with regard to the children and the protective order which precluded you from seeing your children for that length of time. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. On that issue alone, the remainder of your complaint is dismissed. Your counterclaim is dismissed for the reasons that I've stated. We're finished here. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
This court is adjourned.
I don't believe that I was ever the aggressor. He was always the person to gaslight me, especially when he brought the kids or he always taking the kids.
I've never gaslit her. I've always told her exactly what things are, told her the truth on matters. And a lot of people just can't handle the truth on things. So if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen, man.
He saw that I didn't care anymore. He saw that I dried up and just said, you know what, it's done. So if you want to leave, leave, please.
No, that day I had a cool head. I tried to my best to get out that situation. Made many attempts to beeline for the door, and she wouldn't let me leave.
I just want to be a mom. Just like you want to be a dad so bad, let me be a mom. But I could never get that from him, so.
I try to keep things cordial so the way my children can grow up in a favorable household.
What's your takeaway?
I think a big thing that I'm sure happens, you've seen it far more frequently than I have, but I'm sure it happens a lot, is mothers or fathers, but mostly mothers, who get into domestic violence situations or even assaults, even though here we decided that it was more of a mutual combat situation, but even so, they feel that they need a restraining order to protect themselves from their partner. And that's fair. You know, you feel threatened, your life, your safety, but that does not automatically transfer to children, like you said, that you share together. Because as we saw here, with very little, you know, we found out in the first 5 minutes of questioning that this was more of a mutual combat than a one-sided assault.
She just got the worst bargain.
Of course, but still not enough to keep a man from his children for over a year.
You know, it's sort of interesting. It's easier and safer for judges, for family court judges or criminal court judges, to sign off on these sweeping protective orders that cover place of work, your home, the children's school, the children. It just is easier to check all the boxes and say, we'll take care of it at trial. Well, that might be okay if everybody gets a trial in a week. Mm-hmm. In this case, it took 3 years for it to be resolved. So,
for something he probably should have had from the beginning, joint custody, you know, given that they both cared for the children together.
And certainly not deprived of any contact whatsoever for well over a year.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Karen Heckendorf is suing her homebuyer, Dante Zarzosa, for an unlawful eviction, extortion, and emotional distress.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2156, Heckendorf versus Zarzosa.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Heckendorf, who is this gentleman?
This was an attorney I hired in Mexico, kind of in the middle of the night when...
He's an attorney?
In Mexico.
Okay.
And my witness.
Okay. So, trying to piece this complaint and answer together, you purchased a home from Mr. Zarzosa?
No, Your Honor.
He purchased a home from you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it. He purchased a home from you in Mexico?
Yes.
Where in Mexico?
About 5 miles north of Rosarito, maybe 10 miles south of the border.
How long have you owned the home?
I owned the home about 5 years.
How much did you pay for it?
When I bought it was $180.
How much did Mr. Zarzosa pay for the house?
$245.
On what date did he purchase the house?
February the 9th.
Were you present at the closing of the house?
I was.
When you closed on the house on February 9th, how much money did you receive?
I was supposed to receive...
No. You were supposed to receive $245,000. How much did you receive?
I received a cashier's check for $15,000.
15?
$15,000. I received cash, $4,500. And I received the next day through a wire transfer 4.6 million pesos or something like that. I have the paperwork.
Just tell me what that translated to in dollars.
It was $220,500.
Okay. Well, if you have proof to how much the translation of pesos to dollars is, that means that you got a total so far without the down payment. Did he give you a down payment?
Yes, $5,000. I was paid for my house. I was paid for my house.
No, I understand that, but this is the problem. Mr. Zarzosa says that when he took out the mortgage, he increased the amount that he was borrowing so that he had closing costs covered to the extent of, I think, $3,800 or $3,900?
It was a total of almost $10,000.
No.
Oh, $3,900.
That's what I asked you. What's 10,000? 10,000 comes out of nowhere. It was a difference, you said, of $3,900.
Yes, ma'am.
And so he wanted from you the difference.
Well, the realtor gave me.
Not the realtor. He wanted from you.
The realtor told me that. I've never really spoke to Dante except for on February 22nd and the time that he came and looked at my house. But the realtor sent me a fake statement, which I looked at because it's a high school kid's piece of paper, and I said I was not making a refund.
Okay, well, you have to make a refund if you were paid more for the house than you're bargained for with the purchaser.
That's true.
That's true.
And the bank told me on April 1st.
No, they can't tell you anything.
Oh, really?
If they documented something to you, then I'll read it. But you can't tell me what a bank told you. First of all, banks don't speak. Now, I'd like you to get what Mr. Zarzosa is handing me.
This is from the bank.
Well, I can't read this, but what I can't read is in Spanish, but I can read the numbers which indicate that you received, Ms. Heckendorf, a total of $249,544.22. Let me see.
May I see that, ma'am?
Absolutely.
Because this is what that bank gave me right here. And I did go with my witness to the bank on April 1st, and they told me that
You
that
can't,
was...
a bank can't tell you anything.
They told me that was the correct amount.
A bank can't tell you. They can give you a document, which I will read, but a bank can't tell you anything.
This is not really a case about this contract.
Yeah, it is. It started this way.
They're saying that that bank sent me the wrong amount of money?
Yes. That's what it says. That's what that says.
That's what this says.
That's what that says.
I imagine anyone can write what they want, but I was not paid the wrong amount of money.
Well, the bottom line of it was, eventually you gave him back $2,800 of the $39,000 that he said that he was entitled to. Is that correct?
No.
Ms. Heckendorf?
No.
You never gave him $2,800?
I signed a contract and gave him $2,800 under duress. He took my dogs and my cat, and he took my property.
I want you to understand what I'm saying to you. When I ask you a question, I expect an answer. You gave him $2,800, and you gave him the $2,800 because he believed and told you that he had taken out extra money in order to cover his closing costs. And you got that money, and he wanted that money back because he was going to have to pay for it through his mortgage.
I have never heard that these were closing costs. This is the first I've heard about closing costs.
Well, I'm going to tell you this.
I'm going to
stop
talking.
Stop talking. Stop talking.
Okay.
Claims her homebuyer, Dante Zarzosa, extorted money by keeping her pets in property. Dante is countersuing for false accusations and lost wages.
Good. This is your piece of evidence. Your piece of evidence says that you got $249,544.22.
No.
That's what it says.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, that's what it says. You gave him $2,800. He wanted $3,900. You gave him $2,800. What you're suing him for
He also
is...
wanted $2,500.
I'm going to dismiss your case.
Okay.
It's just as easy for me to send you back to Mexico. Once you closed on this house, according to what I looked at, Ms. Heckendorf, you asked if you could stay in the house because your new house wasn't ready to close escrow. Is that correct? That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
And so you closed the house on February 9th, and he allowed you to stay in the house. When were you supposed to vacate the house?
March the 1st, I paid
Just that's a date, March 1st. And between February 9th and March 1st, how much did you pay him in rent?
I gave him the money from the casita.
Just a second.
Yes.
That's an amount between February 9th and March 1st.
$2,370.
So that was a month's rent. Is that what you received?
No, Your Honor.
How much did she pay you in rent between February 9th and when she was supposed to vacate March 1st? She would have paid you rent in advance.
Nothing.
Show me proof that you paid him anything for rent on February 9th. Did you ever receive from this agent $2,370?
No, Your Honor.
Well, do you know who he is?
Yes, I do know. That's the realtor that represented both of us on the purchase.
And you never received, this was on February 9th. He acknowledges he signed that he received $1,620 as in for the last month's rent and $750 security deposit, as well as prorated rent of $120. I don't know what prorated rent is for.
It was for the end of January. They moved in a few days before.
Who moved in?
The people that rented the casita.
And that's part of the house?
Yes.
What is that?
I have two houses on the property, the one I lived in and the casita. And Dante gave me an email that if I gave him this money from the casita, that I could live in the front house until March the 1st. I have that
Just a
email.
second. When he bought the house, did he or did he not buy the casita as well?
Yes, he did.
So he bought the casita as well. So it belonged to him. This rent belonged to him.
Only
So
if I
what do you mean?
rented
He's
it.
not giving you anything. If he buys a house and there's another property, he owns that property. He owns whatever rent was due for that property. So what you're saying is, let me cut to the chase. What you're saying is, you claim, he said to you, I've just paid you $250,000 for your house, which includes the casita. Your house isn't ready yet to close escrow. I will let you stay in the house free if you let me keep the money from the casita's rent.
Yes.
Oh,
And I have
fine.
an
So that the
email.
bottom line, don't speak, it doesn't look like you're losing so
And-
far. I may not be finished with you.
And
So
I hadn't rented
you're
the
speaking,
casita.
you're trying to speak over me.
Well-
And I'm keeping it very simple.
Okay.
You're going to want to keep it very complicated, and I, madam, are going to keep it very simple. So the bottom line is you stayed in the house for free from February 9th or 10th until it was supposed to be until March 1st. That was your understanding. You were staying in his house for free.
I didn't have to rent the casita.
I don't care whether you had to or whether you didn't have to. You were staying in your house that you sold to him for free until your new house was ready. That's a yes.
I felt that.
I don't
but
care
guess
how
if
you
you want to
feel.
look at it
I
that
don't
way-
care how you feel.
Okay.
You sold him your property and you took advantage of a piece of that property, the casita, in order to negotiate yourself a free 3-week rent until your house is ready. Now, you may stand there and look at me in that smug way, but you and I both know that that was a deal you made for yourself.
Yes, I agreed.
Okay.
I agreed to rent the casita ahead of time before I moved out and give him the money so that I could stay in the property until my house closed escrow 1 week.
Pretty tricky.
May have been March the 6th.
Pretty tricky. Bottom line is you stayed in his house for free.
Okay.
And then what the rest of the case is about is that you claim that he changed the locks on the door before March 1st, and in the house you had your pets. And he held ransom your pets until you gave him what turned out to be $2,800. That's your complaint. He changed the locks on February 28th. Where were you when he changed the locks?
February 22nd.
22. Where were you when he changed the
I was
lock?
in my office in San Diego.
Okay. And how did you find out that the locks were changed on the door?
Dante sent me an email that I found later admitting to what he did, but
I asked you a question.
I was at my office, and he called me on the phone, and he said, "This is Dante Zarzosa." And I had
my way. He called you in the office. That's how you found out he changed the locks. That's an answer. Approximately what time did he call you in your
It
office?
was about 6:30, 6:45 in the evening.
6:30 p.m. And tell me what you claim he said to you and what you said to him.
This is Dante Zarzosa. I have your 2 dogs. You're never going to see them again if you don't pay me $3,900.
Now, that wasn't the first time you had heard about this $3,900. That was not the first
time. I heard about it on February the 9th. No, the 8th. Sorry, February the 8th, I'd heard about it.
And so you told him after that you would, or you told him, or you told your lawyer, is that you? Now you can stand up.
I met him.
Shh, don't speak.
Okay.
Karen Heckendorf has accused her homebuyer, Dante Zarzosa, of extortion by threatening her pets. Dante claims Karen owes him for making false accusations.
Your last name, sir, is?
Mena, Your Honor.
Mena. Mr. Mena, you're an attorney in Mexico?
Yes.
Okay. Are you a real estate attorney?
Yes, civil attorney, real estate as well.
You understand what this is about, and you understand if you're a real estate attorney that sometimes people take a mortgage that's beyond what they need in order to cover their closing costs. You understand that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. It's not an unusual thing. I bought and sold many homes. A lot of people do that. And when were you first made aware of the fact that the defendant was at least claiming that there was an amount that he had incurred debt on by way of a mortgage in excess of what your client in Mexico was supposed to receive in the amount of $3,900?
February the 22nd, something like that.
2/22. And when she came to your office, now we no longer have attorney-client privilege, sir, because she's brought you here as a witness, so you're going to testify to every conversation that you
Absolutely,
have.
yes.
You understand that?
Absolutely.
Okay. She came to your office after she found out that the locks were changed.
Actually, I was at home. That was at night.
So when for the first time, sir, did you hear about this money that the defendant was claiming that he was owed?
Mr. Dante called me.
I want you to answer my question.
Yeah, yes.
My question is, when she called you the night of the 22nd at your home, did she tell you at that time or soon thereafter that there was a discrepancy that he was alleging with regard to the closing fees?
Not actually, no. No,
She didn't tell you anything. She told you that he just illegally evicted her and changed the locks.
Yes, and at the same time, because of some situations regarding a deal she has on the sale of the property.
Your client knew as of February 8th that the defendant was alleging that she owed him money from the closing costs. That's clear. That's what she told me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they had clearly ongoing discussions about this from February 8th or 9th when the deal closed and she got her money and she's living rent-free. So what I want to know, when did she share with you, not that there was an illegal eviction, not that her pets were in the house, when did she share with you that he was claiming that she owed him money? And I'm not excusing self-help. When did she tell you that? Because she knew it at the beginning. She knew it before she called you.
I have the communication from Mrs. Karen at the time we filed the complaint in the DA office, district attorney office. This is the time when she expressed me the whole facts.
Oh, so she didn't tell you the whole facts when she called you at home on the 22nd?
No, because she was very worried. She was concerned regarding the babies.
Don't tell me that. Okay.
That's it.
Now I got it. So I got what you're dealing with. I understand who I'm dealing with. Okay. On what date did you get your pets back, Miss Heckendorf?
The 22nd.
Okay. What time?
Well, I didn't actually get them. I got them the next day because my friends went and begged for the animals.
Don't tell me what they did.
They gave them to, and they gave them to my friends.
Stop it, please.
Sit.
Yeah.
I just asked you when you got your animals back. So you got your animals back on the same day as he changed the locks on the house. They were given to friends.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So they were returned to you the same day because if they were given to your friends at your direction, your friends were your agents.
Yes.
Good.
Only the dogs. He had my cat the next day.
Did you have a cat or was it an outside cat? Is it an outside cat?
Outside cat that lives indoors, and they
Okay,
put
it's
the
an
doggy door down so the cat couldn't get out.
Okay.
He told me he had my cat.
Okay. When did you give him the $2,800?
About 5 o'clock on Wednesday, the 23rd.
Is there a writing of the exchange of that money? I'd like to see it. I can't read this.
The plaintiff has a translated version.
Can I see the translated copy, please?
I speak
About what?
about that paper.
Yeah.
He was the one that drew it up. He could tell you, Your Honor.
No. I want this. Did you draw this up?
Can I see it?
Yeah, sure. Kevin, give it to him.
Thank you.
Did you draw that?
Yes, I participated.
What does it tell me?
It's translated.
Don't speak. Do you have the translation of this document?
Yes, I gave it to you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, number 5. very clear. This is the agreement that Mr. Zarzosa receives from Ms. Heckendorf $2,800 for concept of refund of pending payment. The previous amount is received fully. Therefore, the debt is liquidated. And number 6, the seller, Ms. Karen Heckendorf, grants the broadest waiver derived from the investigation file presented before the district attorney's office. I assume that was your complaint, and with a file number filed against Mr. Zarzosa by not keeping any legal action present, past or future, derived from the present business.
This is the police report they're talking about.
I don't care what this says, is you've settled all of your disputes with each other. This says you've settled everything that had to be settled. Okay, but what the translation suggests is by this document, each of you understood that you were giving him money. He was not going to follow through with anything that had to do with the criminal complaint or with a criminal complaint against him. You went your own merry way. Am I crazy, or is that what this document says, sir? You are the lawyer.
Yes, it says so.
That's what it says so. So I want to know why you're all here bothering me. You settled everything. You got back your stuff. You got out of your house. You got your personal property. He has a counterclaim for false accusations and loss of wages as a result of whatever. This document says you've resolved everything with each other. So why are you here?
I did not sign that document under usual circumstances. I hadn't had any sleep, and I was coerced. And he said he was going to burn my furniture or he was going to sell it in the year that it would take me to prosecute him under this Mexican contract.
Put it down, sir. The case is over.
If he wanted to
The case
sue
is
me,
over. You're a pretty savvy lady, madam. You had an attorney that you consulted. He was there when this document was signed.
It wasn't on a real estate deal.
He was here when this.
only on
Goodbye.
this deal
We're done.
in the middle of the
Case is
night.
dismissed. So is your counterclaim.
This
Bye.
court is adjourned.
this was really a case about Dante taking my animals for hostage and extortion.
I didn't steal anything.
The only reason I agreed to give him $2,800 was because he said he was going to burn or sell my furniture.
I'm gonna enjoy my house. Thank you, Karen.
That lady was never intimidated into anything.
I don't think so either.
She knew she had gotten an extra few bucks at the closing. She knew that she was really living there rent-free, which is really very nice. You buy a property, letting her stay there for almost a month. I have little sympathy for him because he resorted to self-help, went to the house, even though he knew she was still there, and changed the locks. But that document clearly indicated that both parties at some point said, okay, enough. I'm getting out of the house. I'm getting my belongings. My pets are back. Yep. Here's your money, and finished. Well, when you make a settlement, you've made a settlement. You don't get to make one settlement in Mexico and another one in California.
Agreed.
That's not the way things work.
And Reza Mahasani are suing 20-year-old Jennifer Santiago for medical bills after being hit by a car.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 2020, Hildreth Mahasani versus Santiago.
Thank you. Miss Hildreth.
Yes.
Pronounce your last name for me, sir.
Mahasani.
Mahasani.
Yes.
You two were crossing the street in San Diego.
In Carlsbad Village.
Is that in San Diego?
It is. It's a suburb of San Diego.
Is that where you live?
Correct, in Carlsbad.
And you were hit by Miss Santiago, who was driving her mother's car.
Correct.
Miss Santiago acknowledges that she hit you, and you were seriously injured. You've had shoulder surgery. You were both injured.
Correct.
When did this happen?
This happened on Friday, September 4th, 2020.
I just have a couple of preliminary questions before I get into the facts of it.
Sure.
I assume that since this accident happened in 2020, that you tried to sue either the defendant and or her mother as the car's owner.
Well, we would have done so, but the driver was uninsured.
That's the question. You would have done so,
Yes.
except the mother had no insurance.
It is my knowledge that the mother had insurance, but that and which I have the evidence, that her daughter was excluded from the policy.
The policy, and therefore the insurance company disclaimed.
Correct.
I'd like to see that.
Absolutely.
That's why your mother's not here.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, that's why your mother's not here, Miss Santiago.
Without her knowing.
Miss Santiago, that's why your mother's not here.
No.
Well, were you excluded from the insurance policy? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
Then you shouldn't have been driving the car.
Yeah, I know.
Just a second. Then you
I
shouldn't
know.
have been driving the car.
I took the car.
I don't want to
knowing
hear
that-
I don't want to hear some pat answer from you. Do you understand? That's why your mother's not here.
Well, it was
I didn't
my
ask you a question.
responsibility,
I didn't
and I took
ask
the car
you.
without
Do you
her
understand?
permission.
They don't listen to you when I'm speaking. When I ask you a question, you'll answer me. I don't want to hear some pat answer. I want to hear a lot of I'm sorries. I want to hear a lot of I'm sorries.
Why would I say I'm sorry if they didn't pay attention when they were crossing?
You weren't supposed to be behind the wheel of a car.
Well, I was paying
You
attention.
weren't supposed to be behind the wheel of a car.
But why they didn't pay attention?
I'm not speaking to you. I just told you why. Why should I
There
say
was
I'm
no
sorry?
lights
Hey,
flashing.
be quiet. Why should I say I'm sorry if they weren't paying attention? Because you weren't supposed to be behind the wheel of a car. If you weren't behind the wheel of a car, whether they were paying attention or not would be irrelevant. You weren't supposed to be driving. She thinks you have a big mouth. You don't have a bigger mouth than me, madam. I guarantee you, the last person who drove yesterday that wasn't supposed to drive yesterday because they were drunk killed
was not
6.
drunk.
Nobody's listening to you. When I'm speaking, nobody's listening to you. Killed 6 people. Last person who drove that wasn't supposed to be behind the wheel of a car killed 6 people. You were not
but I
supposed.
was
Hey,
not drunk.
I'm speaking. You were not supposed to be behind the wheel of a car. Don't you understand that?
I understand
Are you
that.
stupid?
I'm not.
You were not supposed to be behind the wheel of a car. You were an excluded driver, and you were an excluded driver for a reason.
Not only that, Your
Now,
Honor.
just a second. Don't speak. Now I'm going to read and calm myself down. I don't like my blood pressure to get too high. I just don't like stupid. Our investigation, which is after you notified the insurance company, determined that the driver of the insured's car, Jennifer Ramirez, was not covered by the policy. That's what you told me.
Correct.
I don't understand this. You were walking, correct?
Correct. Both.
What is this? Your driving privileges will be suspended on November 21st. What is that?
I think there was a misunderstanding that we were actually driving a vehicle.
Yeah.
And when I called the DMV and I explained that, no, we're actually pedestrians, then they said, oh, I'm sorry, disregard that.
Yeah.
Stupid.
And
Do you have a letter from them indicating that this is wrong?
They just told me that we can disregard it and they just corrected it. That's all they did.
And
Can I
it
say
was
something?
stopped because she was also unlicensed?
Just a second. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I'm not there with Big Mouth. Okay. This happened on September 4th, 2020. What time of the day?
It was in the evening. It
What time?
was about 8
I think
p.m.
it was, around 8 o'clock.
Light or dark outside?
Dark.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of
It is.
the intersection where this happened?
It is, Your Honor.
Ms. Santiago, is that a fair and accurate representation of the intersection where this happened?
Yes.
So at the intersection where this happened, there were lines across the highway indicating pedestrian walkway.
Correct.
And there were 2 signs indicating pedestrian walkway.
There were 3 signs. One in the center median and one on each side.
On September 4th, Ms. Santiago, this requires a yes or a no answer from you. On September the 4th, 2020, did you have a valid driver's license?
Mahasani claimed 20-year-old Jennifer Santiago struck them in a crosswalk while she was driving without a license. Jennifer says they were not paying attention and walked into oncoming traffic.
Now, on September 4th, Ms. Santiago, this requires a yes or a no answer from you. On September the 4th, 2020, did you have a valid driver's license?
I didn't, Your Honor.
I said it's either a yes or a no. Did you have a valid driver's license?
No.
Did you ever have a valid driver's license?
No.
Do you have a valid driver's license today?
No, Your Honor, because they...
That's a no. What's your name?
Vanessa
What?
Giles.
Stand up. Did you come with her today?
Yes.
How did you get here?
I drove. My license.
Just a second. You drove?
Yes.
In whose car?
My car.
What kind of car is it?
Kia.
Did you ever drive with Miss Santiago?
Yes.
When? Did you ever drive in a car where she was the driver and you were the passenger?
Yes.
When?
Yeah. September 4th, 2020. 2 years ago.
Other than September 4th, 2020, did you ever drive with Miss Santiago where you were the passenger?
Yes.
When?
September 4th.
I said other than September 4th.
No.
Other than September 4th.
Other than that, no.
On September 4th at 7 p.m., 7 p.m., where were you?
We were at the beach. Carlsbad Beach.
Sure, you were at the beach. Who else was at the beach?
Santiago and another friend. He's a minor. He's 16.
There were 3 of you at the beach.
Yes.
Anybody else that you knew at the beach?
No.
How long had you been at the beach?
Like for an hour.
So you got there at 6 o'clock in the evening.
We got there at 7. We were going back home at 8.
So you got to the beach at 7. What did you do at the beach at 7 o'clock?
We were just sitting there, eating, relaxing, having a good time, as teenagers that we were.
Now, did Miss Santiago pick you up or did you meet at her house? Just think, take a breath. Did you meet at her house or did Miss Santiago pick you up?
She picked me up.
How far do you live from her?
2 minutes away.
And what about the 16-year-old minor?
3 minutes away.
Did she pick up the 16-year-old minor?
Yes.
How old was Miss Santiago in September of 2020?
18.
Are you a good friend of hers?
Yes, I am.
You knew she didn't have a driver's license?
Yes.
Did you know why she didn't have a driver's license?
She was still studying for a test.
Had she taken the test before?
Yes, she has.
She had taken the test before.
Yes.
Do you remember how many times?
Yes.
How many times did she take the test?
2 times.
And the 2 times she took the test, she failed it?
Yes, she did.
Okay. So now she's driving without a license because she's failed her driving test twice at the time of this. So she's studying to pass it maybe for the 3rd time, right?
Yes.
And now we have 2 years later, she still doesn't have a driver's license.
Yes.
Do you know why?
No.
Well, you're her good friend. Didn't you ask her? Well, it's 2 years later. Did you ever pass your driving test?
She hasn't yet.
Sit. Now tell me what happened at 8 o'clock on the 4th of September, 2020.
I have pictures if you like, and would it be okay to approach the screen to show you better?
No, it's not necessary. You were crossing the street.
Correct.
In a crosswalk, she hit you.
Correct. We were.
You
That's what
crossing
happened.
the street in a crosswalk, and she hit you.
Yeah. So we had come to the crosswalk sign on the left side of the photo. We pressed the button. It illuminated the flashing lights to indicate that it was okay to cross. We looked to the left. Those 2 cars were already parked. We proceeded to the middle and noticed that the car furthest, in the furthest lane from us, that car was already parked. So we proceeded, and we were hit.
What happened when she hit?
Hey,
don't speak. Hey, listen. For someone who can't take and pass a driver's test 3 times, at least I would keep my mouth shut until I look at you for an answer. Do you understand?
Yes.
And it was estimated by the officer that we...
No. She hit you in a crosswalk. That's a crosswalk. This young lady knew I'm not... Did you hear me? I'm not speaking to you. You don't understand this was a really bad day for this kind of case to come into court. You do understand that?
Yes.
Okay, good. And you know why this is a very bad day for your case to come into court?
No.
Then you don't read the newspapers. I suggest if you read the newspaper, maybe you would be able to pass your driving test. Because either you failed the written portion or you failed the driving portion, one or the other. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. Now we understand each other. Now you're almost at I'm sorry. You're almost at I'm sorry. When the defendant's car struck you, where did you land?
I have photos to show.
I'd like to see it.
It kind of shows on the second photo there.
Oh, you hit her windshield. Who hit her windshield?
We
Is that you?
both did,
Both.
Your Honor. And the hood.
That's not true. I only saw that her husband, that he hit the shield. It wasn't her.
What an idiot. Kevin, I would like you to show Miss Santiago that photograph and this one. Can I see the police report, please?
Sure.
See?
I'd also like you to show her these. I just want her to take a look at them. To know what happens when you act irresponsibly and you do things that you're not supposed to do, like take a car and drive it when you have no license, when you failed your driving test twice.
Lisa Hildreth and Reza Mahassani are accusing 20-year-old Jennifer Santiago of hitting them in a crosswalk while she was driving without a license.
Okay, your last name is?
Giles?
You spoke to the police that day.
Yes, I did.
I don't know what you're doing here as a witness. She stated she did not see what happened. That's what it says here.
Yeah.
Now, just a second. That's what it says here. Uncross your arms. Now you can sit down. Gillis stated she did not see what happened. However, she identified Miss Santiago as the driver. And then there was a witness. Witness 1 stated she was riding as a passenger in a vehicle driving northbound on the 3100 block of Carlsbad Boulevard. The two plaintiffs were crossing the road in a marked crosswalk on the south side of the intersection of Carlsbad Boulevard and Oak Avenue. The two were crossing from the west side of the street to the east side of the street. The yellow warning lights next to the crosswalk were flashing.
They were not.
Witness 1 observed Plaintiff 1 driving northbound towards the crosswalk at a fast speed. She drove through. I'm speaking, not you.
I was not.
I'm speaking, not you. I'm reading from a statement in the police report from a witness who stopped when this accident happened that you don't know, neither do you. Okay, so now we have a witness who neither one of you know, who said the yellow lights were flashing. Even if they weren't, there's a crosswalk and there are signs that said pedestrian. But this witness says the lights were flashing. Then the officer who did a blood test there for alcohol states as follows. During the investigation, P1, that would be you, displayed objective symptoms of intoxication. I noticed her eyes were slightly red and watery. Her speech was very quiet. I determined P1 was under the influence of cannabis.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Just a second. Do you have any supplementary police reports?
The only other thing that I have from the officer is an email that he...
No. Okay. An email to whom?
An email from the police officer to us.
I'd like to see it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what you said to the police officer was, and the police officer responded to you, that the report came back negative.
Correct.
And he said, I'm not changing it. Therefore, it's not a criminal matter. You have to sue her civilly.
Correct.
Because clearly the accident was her fault.
Correct.
Were you taken to the hospital that day?
We both were.
And you were taken to jail?
Yeah.
When was the last time you took a driving test? Month and year?
I haven't taken no driving test.
When was the last time you took a driving test, madam? You failed twice. So I want to know when the last time was that you took a driving test.
I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Did you take a driving test in the year 2021?
Yeah, I did.
Did you pass that driving test?
No.
Was that your third or fourth driving test?
That was the second.
No, you took two, according to your friend, before 2020.
I know.
So I asked you, in 2021, did you take it? You said yes, you didn't pass it. And I asked you, was that the third or the fourth test that you had?
That was my second.
No. I don't know how much more that a court system can do but to say to people who don't have driver's licenses, especially in your case where you tried to get a license but failed to pass on at least 2 occasions before this incident, which means that you were a risk to be on the road because you couldn't pass a driving test twice before this incident. Now, you want to tell me whether you, and this requires a short answer, not one of your long ones. Did you have your mother's permission to take the car that day to pick her up and go to the beach?
No.
Have you ever had your mother's permission to take the car and go anywhere?
No.
So in effect, if you had no license and you didn't ask for permission, then you stole the car.
No.
What do you mean no? You
just-
didn't have permission of the owner to take the car. You weren't a licensed driver, therefore there was no insurance. Well, let's go back. Did you ever ask your mother to use the car?
No, not at all.
And what happened after you had this accident in your mother's car and after you got out of jail? What happened between you and your mother?
Well, she was sad because I was in jail, and well, she was also mad because, like, why would I take the car without her permission?
Why did you take the car without her permission?
Well, I honestly didn't thought that this would happen.
Nobody thinks that an accident is going to happen. I don't think you intentionally hit these 2 people.
No.
I don't think you intentionally hit these 2 people. Are you ready to say I'm very sorry yet?
Yeah, I told them we have talked before, I told them that I was sorry, and I'm telling them again that I'm sorry.
Good. That's better. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Well, I'm really pleased with the judge's decision.
I didn't see anything until the guy hit the windshield.
So we're here and we're grateful for that.
I was super scared, I killed them, I was crying in jail.
We both have to deal with physical injuries, but like Lisa said, it was the unluckiest and luckiest moment of our life, so we're grateful that we're here.
Being pretty close to 18 myself, I can understand.
Cassandra Duenas. He's suing exotic pet store owner Brian Chow for money from a snake breeding business.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Hello, Judge. Case number 212, Duenas versus Cho.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Duenas, it looks to me from your papers that you decided to go into a business with someone.
Yes,
With whom?
with the defendant, Brian Chow.
And you know him how?
He's a family friend.
And you know what his business is?
Yes.
What is his business?
He currently sells reticulated pythons, snakes, exotic animals, monitors, lizards.
And you like those things?
My ex-boyfriend did.
Did you?
I was more for the investment part.
Okay.
I was the investor at the time.
At the time you reached out to this family friend who was in the exotic snake business, your idea was to create a business.
No, Your Honor. It was actually the defendant's idea.
I don't care whose idea it was. Your idea was to create a business with your ex-boyfriend.
I agreed to the business, but it wasn't our idea.
Whether you agreed to the business or not, you invested money in the business.
Yes.
Which means that unless there's something wrong with you, and I see that there is not, you wanted to go into business with the defendant.
Yes.
So let's be easy.
Okay.
And at the time that you wanted to go into business with the defendant, I'll get to what the nature of that business was in a second. I know it had something to do with that wonderful looking snake. You had a boyfriend.
Yes.
And the boyfriend liked snakes.
Yes.
And you went along with the ride.
Yes.
What month and year were you still with the boyfriend when you decided to go into the business, which you will explain to me?
Back in November of 2019.
So right before COVID.
Yes.
What was your boyfriend doing at the time?
He was working at an airport.
And he and Mr. Cho were friends?
Yes.
How long had you known him?
2-3 weeks, Your Honor.
Where did you meet him?
He came into my store and acquired
I didn't ask you anything. That's how you met him?
Yes.
I'm going to get through this case and get this lovely thing out of the courtroom as quickly as I Well, some people find them exotic and gorgeous. I find them a little bit squirmy. So in November 2019, boyfriend and you decided to go into the business. Explain the business that you invested in.
I invested on 5 reticulated pythons, 1 male and 4 females. That was the original deal.
And what were you going to do with them?
Mr. Brian Chow was going to have it in his shop, and together we were going to breed them and make a profit out of them.
So the intention was never for you to take these pythons to your residence?
No.
And you understood that? No.
They're buying the snake, Your Honor.
Okay. How much were the 5 snakes?
In total, it was $10,000, plus the feeding and the cages that he claimed that the snakes needed.
Was it your agreement that for $10,000, Ms. Duenas and the boyfriend were going to buy 1 male snake and 4 females?
They decided to buy 2 snakes.
Well, when was that decision made, sir?
A week after I met him, because they...
When you went into the shop, did you ultimately decide on 1 male, 1 female?
No, so how it is, Your Honor, is he knew my ex-boyfriend prior to the business 5 years ago. He sold him a exotic Australian monitor lizard.
Okay, what I want you to tell me is, did there come a time when the arrangement changed, so instead of 1 male and 4 females, you were supposed to get 1 male and 1 female?
No, Your Honor. The whole way it was supposed to be 1 male and 4 females.
Do you have any sort of a receipt for that?
We have Instagram conversations.
Do you have that?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
One male, 4 females. The guy's asking $15,000 for all, and then he says, I'll drop it to 12. Then somebody, I don't have 12 now. I just spent a lot on my monitor. Let's go the rest. Okay, so he said, I don't have that money now. He says, I'm getting 16 lace monitors. You remember that discussion? And then that's a big investment for me right now. I'm saving up to get a house, but I'm down to breed my monitor with any of your monitors. Keep going. So far, I don't have a contract. And then somebody says, no, you pay half and I pay half. Who wrote that?
He did.
No, you pay half and I pay half. Then you say $6,000. I'm short $6,000. I want to get them, but I'm low on cash till next month. And that's from you. That's from the reptile.
I had to see it, Your Honor.
Okay. If I invest half with you, what will be my return and in how long? Think about it. That's will be the baby's mix price. JTK Reptiles, that's you. Somebody's on their way. That's you and your boyfriend?
Yes. We were on our way to give him the money.
And how much money were you going to give him?
We gave him the first time $6,000 and then $4,000, a total of $10,000.
You received that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what did you purchase with the $10,000?
If you look at the message from there, what she showed you is they pay half of the 5 snake. Means they get 2 of the snake, and I get 2 of the snake. They've been lying to you guys since day one. They want to purchase 2 snake. Then I told them, like, if you look at the message, I can use my male to breed it to your female. It's an investment for you guys, not for us. It's no us. It's not with them at all.
Mr. Cho, were they supposed to take possession of the snakes?
They're supposed to pick up the snake. That's why they come to the store with it.
Which snakes were they supposed to take possession of?
One right here and one out there.
Is that a male or a female?
This is the female.
Has she had babies yet?
No, I don't breed her because she don't belong to me.
And how old is she?
Right now, she should be about 6 years old, going 7.
How long do they live?
Over 30 to 40 years, depends on how you take care of them, like I take care of them.
And there's another one outside the courtroom that's the same as this one.
Yes.
Also a female?
Yes.
And you gave him the $10,000. He acknowledges the $10,000. So we have a verbal contract that you were going to pay for some snakes. He was going to order the snakes for you, which he did. And that was accomplished, and the payment for the snakes was done on what date, the first payment?
Approximately in November of 2019.
And when was the next $4,000 payment?
The same month, I would say like a week.
Good. And when did you order the snakes, Mr. Chow?
Right after I get
the 10th.
Yeah, because I cannot just acquire the animal without the payment.
Okay, so now you've got the payment and you order the animals.
Yes.
On what date do they arrive?
2 days after, their FedEx delivered to my shop.
And when did you notify the plaintiffs that they were there?
The day that they came, I tell them the snake is
So
ready
it was
for-
also in November, sometime in November. And when did they arrive?
The snake
No.
arrived? Oh.
The plaintiff and the boyfriend.
They arrived a week after I notify the boyfriend.
Okay. Now, Ms. Duenas, a week later you went to the shop. And what happened when you went to the shop? Now he's got $10,000 and he's got 2 snakes.
I just want to clarify, Your Honor, that we even gave him money for the tanks because here in the conversations it says that he can't continue having them in tubs. So he needs us to give him money to invest to buy the tanks to house the snakes. So our original plan was for him to keep the snakes because he has the shop. We, at the time, lived in an apartment. He was well aware of this, that we couldn't have big snakes in our apartment.
He says no, you say yes. I'm not sure how I can resolve that. I'm trying to simplify this contract.
Cassandra Duenas claims exotic pet store owner Brian Chow owes her money for a snake breeding business. Brian says Cassandra changed her mind about the business after he purchased the snakes.
Okay, part of the contract was fulfilled because you paid him. Then he ordered the snakes. Second part was fulfilled. I want you to tell me what happened when you went to see the snakes. You say to see them. He says to pick them up a week later.
So when we went to the shop,
Who
what
went?
led us to
Who went?
my ex-boyfriend and I. What led us to there is because after he obtained the snakes, he was not reaching out back to us. He was
Just a week later.
Yes.
You went to the shop. He notified you that the snakes were there. There's no question about that. Now, you went to the shop for what purpose?
Because he switched it and then he said it was 2 snakes when originally the plan was 1 male and 4 females. That 1 male was going to breed with the 4. So right out the back, he lied to us what our agreement was here, that he clearly texted us and said 4 males and 1 female. So it was 5 snakes. So we went to the shop.
But there was a problem there with pricing. In the Instagram messages, a suggestion, because some of the texts were unavailable. He said originally they were $15,000. And then there was some discussion of $12,000. And then there was some discussion of $6,000. He says he'll pay half and you pay half. And there, I can imagine that there was some sort of an agreement for you to keep the snakes if you were going to pay half. You were always supposed to give them the snakes.
It's a
Why
store.
would you pay half?
Then they get the 2 of the snake, and I get the 2 of the other snake. It's 5 of them. And the
Okay.
one that we gonna pretty much, they can have it if they want it, or I can use it when I need it.
You mean the male?
Yes.
So that was the business. Anyway, you went there, and what happened?
So I went in recording. My ex-boyfriend told me, hey, record the
Don't
whole-
tell me what your ex-boyfriend told you.
Okay.
Just tell me you went in and what happened.
We went in there and we asked him, hey, we agreed on 5 snakes. Now you switched up and you said now it's 2 snakes. First you told us it was 15,000, then 12,000. You were playing games with us the whole time. And at this point, after a week later that he said that he got the snakes, then he told us it was 2 snakes. At that point, we were upset because we had planned and we had counted with 5 snakes. That's why we gave him that ridiculous amount of money. And basically, we didn't want nothing else to do with him. We wanted our money back. And that's what we went for, our money back.
Just a second. So you walked in wanting your money back.
Yes.
Do you have any text messages, Instagram messages, suggesting that before you got there, you had said to him, we changed our mind, we don't want to be in business with you, we want our money back?
No.
Nothing?
No. He
Had
wasn't
they-
reaching out. Sorry, Your Honor. He wasn't reaching out to us. He was sending him video calls. He was calling him through text message, my ex-boyfriend. And
I don't care. You paid the money, he got snakes. The question is, you think there's supposed to be more than 2? He says 2. More were more money. So the ultimate agreement was for 2. So what happened when you went there? You're there with your boyfriend.
Yes.
And you say, I want my money back. And he says,
I don't have the money here. I have 2 snakes here.
are you telling me that he didn't call you and say your snakes are in? Is that what you're suggesting? Do you have an invoice for these snakes, Mr. Chow?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see the invoice for the snakes. By the way, your boyfriend has other of these exotic
To wire
creatures. Is
transfer
that right?
To the people that I get them.
What kind of exotic creatures does he have?
One that he sold him, an Australian water monitor from the Philippines.
And?
He has 2 rhino iguanas, a pair. He has a, I don't know the name, but it changes colors.
Mr. Chow,
Yes.
this is a wire transfer May 24th, 2018. And the date of this wire transfer is August of 2018.
And those are for the lace monitor that
Are these lace monitors?
yes.
Sorry, Your Honor, these are not lace monitors. These are reticulated pythons. These are not monitors. Monitors are lizards. These are snakes.
Lace monitor bell face.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's not that.
No, Your Honor.
Well, these are useless.
Yes, but that's connected to the rest of what they did.
What does it have to do with these 2 snakes? What I want to see is when you purchased these 2
Yeah,
snakes.
I don't have it, Your Honor.
Well,
Sorry.
get it. What do you mean you don't have it?
I left it at home. I'm so sorry.
Well, what'd you bring these for?
Those are the time that they both got arrested when they went to my shop and
Yeah, but
break.
you now have those back, right?
Yes.
You have those back. So if you had to take documents, why didn't you take the documents for the snakes in question? The lace monitor lizards aren't in question. You have them back. They may have taken them. They were arrested, and you finally got them back. So I don't understand that.
I just mistaken grabbed the wrong paper.
Well, Mr. Chow, do you deal with these people regularly, that you buy snakes from them regularly?
Not really. Depends on the size of the animal and depends what kind of animal.
Well, you have the date of purchase someplace, Mr. Chow, and I don't want you to waste my time.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. That's why I just said I don't have it, Your Honor.
Did they purchase that kind of snake?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
It was 5 snakes, Your Honor.
Don't give me 5. That type of snake.
Oh, yes, the reticulated python, yes.
And the one that's outside is the same, correct?
Yes.
And you did not purchase baby snakes.
No.
You wanted full-grown snakes because they were a business. You wanted them able to be breeding. Okay. Should have brought the paperwork. And you went in there that day in November because you had changed your mind.
Yes, and on top, yes.
Because you had changed your mind.
Yes.
That's the answer. You had changed your mind. You can give me a whole bunch of excuses, and you told him you changed your mind, you want your money back. And he said no, because I ordered the snakes, and I got them in, and they're yours. Contract is completed. I'm merely holding your property. And then there was a kerfuffle. And tell me about the kerfuffle.
The issue was that it was going back to what I was saying is then we asked him as well, can we have like receipt? How much did you really pay for them?
No, that's not your business. That's not your business, how much you really paid for them. He made a deal, you paid him. If he got them for $2,000 and you paid him $10,000, that's nothing. The kerfuffle, let's draw this down to its most simple English. You wanted your money back, and you wanted to cancel this contract.
Yes, it's just when we arrived, those weren't the snakes that we ordered. These were the breed of it, is the ones that he was putting here on Instagram, which I have, which is not those. So we ordered something and we got something else. So
is what you're telling me, you went there to pick up your, because now it's changed. You went there to pick up your snakes. When you got there, they turned out to be a different...
It's breed. It's like the...
Pythons, right?
Yes.
They're pythons, but it was a different kind of python. Now you're telling me because it was a different python, you wanted your money back.
Yes, because it wasn't what we paid for. It's like we paid for a Ferrari and we got a Toyota, basically. It's basically
You know nothing about pythons, so you're taking your cues from your boyfriend because that's his strong suit. Is it yours as well?
No, I'm just the investor.
Right. So your boyfriend had a conversation with him and said, those aren't the snakes that I ordered.
Yes.
Okay. And I want my money back.
Yes.
And you said you recorded all this.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Cassandra Duenas is accusing exotic pet store owner Brian Chow of wrongfully keeping money for a snake breeding business. Brian says he fulfilled their agreement and claims Cassandra stole property from his store.
And you said you recorded all this.
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. You just press play. Which one? Oh, right here. And then you press that.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
You guys just want to do the money back.
Yeah. The 10,180 in total, and then money on top of that for lending you the money and everything.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, because we didn't see this coming. You just kept on giving us a runaround and a runaround.
Oh, no, what?
About the mail. Remember that?
No, that's why I'm waiting for the mail to be delivered. I don't have the mail.
Yeah, but remember you had told us that the guy had it because he had to leave and
Yeah,
he had to gut out because he has surgery and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We gave you the money right there and then. You don't understand what mission we had to go
I
through.
didn't know. I don't mind getting you guys your money back, but I don't have cash right now. You guys caught me by surprise.
Yeah, but we're gonna have to do it today though. Like we need our money today.
If you want it right now, I don't have it.
We told you we want to do business correct, and you just keep on giving us another day and another day.
You told us as soon as we give you the money, the snake was gonna be here.
Yeah, it's not about me, it's the guy. It's not me. I'm just buying the snake from a different guy.
And then another thing where you messed up, you said 5 snakes for 6,000, and you come at me with 4 and you wasted my money.
Yeah, and I told you that he gave me only 4 snakes, the big giant.
Yeah, and why would you waste money if I told you to get the 5 snakes?
If you worry about the last one, I can pay for it. It's a meal that we don't need.
But I have to do all this, so I have to get like this for you to do that?
No, bro.
How can I trust you now?
Bro, the 4 snake is right here.
I'm gonna go get something.
What's wrong with you, bro? I'm just asking you. Let's talk.
No, we're not gonna talk. I told you don't with me.
I don't talk with you, bro.
Dog.
Why? What's
that's
wrong?
gonna be mine.
Because we gave you a lot of money. We're talking about over $10,000, and you're just giving us the runaround. First, you told us 5
This is what
snakes.
we can do. I'll take it. And when you get the money, I'll give it back. Yeah, female too.
Oh, no.
Oh, no? All right, well.
Come on, bro. You're looking at a 15 grand.
I told you don't play with me.
I don't play with
You don't even have the money right now.
Open them up, man.
I got the half of the money.
Open them up.
I'm trying to talk to you, bro.
No, there's no more talking because we gave you the money right here and then. That's unprofessional. You're trying to scam us, and you don't do that to people like that.
I didn't. How did I scam you?
Before I open it.
You're telling me that you don't have the money.
I have half of the money because I'm waiting for the snake. Bro, if you guys gonna get arrested. If you guys
There's
take
no
time.
arrested. We're just getting what you took from us. Over $10,000.
I'm trying to talk
Over
to you.
$10,000.
We're gonna open it. I'm trying to talk.
No, we try to talk to you. You're telling us you're gonna have the money. I have everything in video.
I don't care. You can record me, bro.
All right, so are you gonna
You
open
don't
it?
play with people's money. You can call
You owe
whoever
me
you
over
want.
$15,000.
This is 15 grand.
We don't care.
Can you call a cop, please?
All right, watch out. Come back away. I told you, don't play with my money.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? He owes me money.
I don't care. Get out. 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 Get out.
Let them alone.
He owes us money. He owes us money. He owes us money.
Okay, they're gonna deal with it. With the police.
Now I'll play that video, please. That's your boyfriend breaking into the...
Yes.
Yes. And when he broke the glass and took out whatever lizards he took out with him, where did he take them? You were still with him.
Yes, he put it in a bin.
And is that you carrying them out?
Yes, and that's the reason why I was charged with the robbery, just because I walked out with the item.
That's all right. That's fine. That's a co-conspirator. Ultimately, the lizards that you took were returned to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it seems, Mr. Chow, at the beginning of this case, I must acknowledge to you that I was sympathetic to your position, that they had ordered snakes. You ordered them, you got them,
Yes, Your Honor.
and then the contract is completed. Uncross your arms.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
But it's clear from the tape that the plaintiff played for me that you acknowledged that you did not fulfill your end of the contract, that you were blaming your inability to fulfill your end of the contract on some third party. Is that what I heard in the tape? I mean, you know, my hearing's not really acute, but that's what you said. I have no control. I can give you back half your money, but I can't give you back all your money. So the contract was not complete.
It was complete because they supposed to get only 2 snakes.
I didn't see anywhere where it says just 2 snakes. There was a whole bunch of conversation there about the male snake, and you were supposed to deliver to them the male snake. And you said, I don't have that money now, but I can get that money for you. I can give you the first money. I don't have the second money. It was clear that the contract was not complete unless you have something to show me that it was. But what I heard, it was not. That doesn't mean that Ms. Duenas has the right to break your property and to steal property that belongs to you. What they do is they come into a court and say, you have my money. The contract was not fulfilled. I want my money back. That's what you do. Are you in the business of breeding snakes for your store?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if we were to go on the internet now,
Yes, Your Honor.
how much would one of those snakes, which is 6 or 7 years old, according to you, sell for?
Right now, this size, you're looking at it about 6,000 to 7,000 each one.
But if you trolled the internet of people who actually like those creatures in their house, for whatever reason, if you put up that snake on the internet for sale, how fast would it take you to sell it?
I still say like about a month and a half.
They're rare.
Yes.
Is that right? That's what you're saying.
It's rare and is just not a lot of people will acquire that much money.
Even though they can sell the babies. And how many babies do they have?
In a year, they can do from 30 to 50.
And each one of the 30 to 50, you can sell for $3,500.
Yes.
I suggest you do that. She gets her $10,000 back. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I'm very happy, and I'm happy that she was able to see herself that the defendant got caught multiple lies.
They're just a customer.
He wasn't truthful since the beginning. Ever since we invested.
They bought a snake. I just want to give their snake, but they don't want to take it.
And it's very sad how nowadays you can't trust in anybody.
I think one great lesson that a lot of people can take away from that is you have to know the business that you're investing in. I can appreciate she was sort of doing it for her boyfriend and he had the knowledge about the exotic animals, but that's her money at the end of the day. And if you're going to put your own hard-earned money on the line, it should be a business that you at least put in the time to learn about.
To understand.
Exactly, so that you don't have to rely on somebody else to make the right decisions.
Who's going to be gone tomorrow?
Exactly, exactly.
And your money
who potentially could, and then you're left on your own, having to sue and navigate a field that you really know nothing about.
Smart. And it was also an example of a contract that was not fully executed. I actually thought when I started the case that there was an offer, an acceptance, you performed, paid the money, got the snakes, and then you can't change your mind. Once you get it, you say, well, I changed my mind, but that's not what happened.
Nope.
And her video demonstrated that that's not what happened because Mr. Chow started to waft. Well, it's not my fault I don't have your mail. It's another guy, and I would give it to you, but I can't give it to you as soon as I get it, you know.
Yeah.
So he did not deliver on the contract. So I had very little compulsion other than to say, you don't have to take the snake and you get your money back.
Yeah.
Anyway, done. And the snake is gone.
Kevin Free for Vet Bills.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2064, Singleton versus Free.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Singleton, your case is relatively simple. It is your claim that the defendant's unleashed dog bit your dog.
Yes, ma'am.
And you incurred vet bills, and you want Mr. Free to be responsible for them.
That's correct.
Mr. Free says that it's true that his dog did bite yours on, I think, on the leg.
Yes, ma'am.
But that your dog was on his property and your dog was the aggressor. That's your position.
Correct.
Okay. And you were walking 2 dogs.
2 dogs and my nephew.
Nephew was a baby.
Yes, he was 3 years old, and my dog was 3, and the large dog that was bit, he was 12 at the time.
So you have a small rat terrier,
Yes.
I think. And your larger dog is what kind of dog?
A Siberian Husky.
And what kind of dog do you have, sir?
I have a Italian Mastiff, Cane Corso.
That's a big dog.
At the time, he was about maybe 12 months old, so maybe a little bit over a year. So he's bigger now, but yeah.
How much did he weigh?
At that time, probably about 80 pounds.
Tell me about your property, sir. You have a photograph of your property?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. Here's a couple of them here.
Miss Singleton, this incident happened when?
Christmas Day of last year, around 12:30, right before we had Christmas lunch.
Weather was okay?
Oh, it was great.
And how close do you live to Mr. Free?
I don't live anywhere near him. I actually live in Stone Mountain, but I was going to my parents' house for Christmas, so we were walking around the neighborhood. He lives almost directly behind my parents' house.
And I see that while there are driveways here, the front lawn extends all the way to the street. Is that right?
Yes.
And you were walking both your dogs, and were they leashed or unleashed?
They were leashed.
Both?
Yes, they were both leashed.
And Mr. Free, you sort of acknowledged that both of her dogs were on leashes.
I've only seen one dog. I didn't see two dogs, and I didn't see a child either. It was her and a dog. So
The dog that you saw, what kind of dog was that?
it looked like a husky, looked kind of like a wolf. So I'm not sure.
So just a second. So you saw a husky.
Correct.
Did you see the plaintiff?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you one more time.
Okay.
Was the husky on a leash?
I guess yes. I guess.
The answer is either yes or no.
I'm not sure. I wasn't.
Okay. Well,
I
if
wasn't
you're
looking at
not
the
sure,
leash.
she says the husky was on a leash.
Yeah. So I'm not going to deny her dog was.
Okay. And your dog at the time was on your property unleashed.
My dog was on my property. Period.
Your dog, pay careful attention. Your dog was on your property
Correct.
unleashed.
Correct.
At 12:30 on Christmas Day, what were you doing?
I was putting up a basketball goal I had just bought for my children for Christmas in the front yard with my dog next to me.
Okay. What I want you to do is this a picture of your house?
That's a picture of my house from the other side of the street, correct?
That's fine. This is a picture of
Yes.
your house.
Yes, it is.
The answer is yes. Kevin, what I'd like you to do is take this photograph to Mr. Free. I want him to take a Sharpie. Do we have a Sharpie? Something. Okay.
I have a pen.
You have a pen?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell him to make a circle where he was and an X where he saw for the first time Miss Singleton and her dog. X where you were, just
Okay.
where you were, you personally.
Okay.
And put a circle the place where you saw Miss Singleton for the first time. Okay. So you were in the front yard.
Correct.
And that looks about 30 feet away from where you saw Miss Singleton for the first time.
If that.
From here to here.
I'll say about 20 feet. It's not as big as it looks on that picture. It's a pretty small yard.
I would say it's about 30 feet from where you put the X. It's all the way past the house. You're at the one side of the driveway. You have an entranceway to your house.
Correct.
And then you have, is this front a living room?
Yes, it is.
A living room, which is past that. And where you made a circle, which is a very large circle, is probably 10 feet away from the edge of the house.
Yes, that's where I know.
So I said it's about 30 feet away.
Okay.
And now I want you to put, can I have your pink Sharpie, please? Thank you very much. I want you to use this and put in this picture where your dog was at 12:30.
To get your understanding, you want
12:30. I want you to put a mark where your dog was immediately before you saw Miss Singleton and her
immediately
dog.
before. Thank you. You're not going to be able to see.
Okay, great. Great. So your dog, according to you, was right next to you, about 30 feet away from where Miss Singleton was when you saw her.
To be honest
with her
with you,
dog.
he kind of moves around the yard. He doesn't sit still very much, so.
Well, you understand, Mr. Free,
Mm-hmm.
that even if your dog is on your property, you're supposed to maintain control of your dog all the time.
And which I
You
do.
understand that.
Yes, I do.
You understand that.
Yeah.
So if your dog is able to run 30 feet without being connected to you,
He didn't
just
run.
walk, cha-cha, tap dance,
Uh-huh.
pirouetted, however he got there, your dog got 30 feet away from where you were.
Correct.
Your 80-pound dog.
Claims dog owner Kevin Free owes for vet bills from a dog fight.
Now, Miss Singleton was walking with her other dog and a 3-year-old. I want you to process that into your mind. And this is a 12-month-old, which is still a puppy. you know, still a puppy, but at 80 pounds.
Your Honor, there was no 3-year-old. I didn't see in a 3-year-old.
Just a second.
Okay.
I don't care what you saw while you were busy putting together something for Christmas in your front yard. If you didn't see it, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If you didn't see it, it just means you didn't see it. She tells me she sees it. She remembers walking her 2 dogs. You only remember 1. She has 2 that she was walking at 12:30 Christmas Day. The fact that you only saw 1 means you weren't paying attention to where your dog was.
Or they wasn't there.
Well, that's pretty stupid, Mr. Free.
I mean, does it make sense to carry 2 dogs and an infant down a neighborhood you don't even belong in? I mean, you don't know from?
Mr. Free, they're only going to take 1 voice.
I understand. Yeah.
They're only going to take 1 voice, and that's mine. Let me tell you why your argument is stupid. Because it doesn't make any difference whether she was walking 2 dogs or 4 dogs or 8 dogs. It doesn't make any difference whether she was walking with or without a 3-year-old. Ultimately, her case comes down to she was walking her leashed dog. I haven't figured out whose fault it is yet. She was walking her leashed dog, and your dog ran, walked, pirouetted, cha-cha, whatever it did, to her dog out of your control. Was not under your control because it was not leashed. Do you understand?
I understand.
Now, I can take away everything else. Not that I'm going to, because I believe that you were distracted. You didn't see it. And I believed her that she was walking with her 3-year-old nephew.
Yes, ma'am.
Nephew and another dog that you didn't see. But that's not the issue in this case, whether she was with another dog, another child, or with anybody else. The issue is, whose fault is it that a dog was out of control? So now you're going to tell me what happened at 12:30 on Christmas Day, just so that Mr. Free doesn't think that I'm picking on him.
Okay.
Which I'm not.
Okay, I know.
You may think I am, but I'm not picking on him. You're walking with your husky.
Yes, ma'am.
On a leash.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened?
I was walking with my nephew, 3 years old.
No, don't just listen to me.
Okay.
Listen to me carefully.
Okay, just walk down the street.
I said you're walking. I got it in my mind.
Okay.
But so Mr. Free doesn't think that I'm being unfair to him, because he doesn't remember what he saw. You're walking your husky.
Okay, only him.
On the street. So your nephew didn't get hurt. Your rat terrier didn't get hurt.
That's correct.
Okay, so now you're walking your husky on the street, and?
Okay, and then all of a sudden we see a dog charging towards us. And
Who's we?
Oh, I called me, my nephew, and my dogs we.
No, now it's just I saw.
I saw a dog charging towards us. That dog and Leon got into an altercation, and then Leon turned around to try and kick the dog in the face, and he grabbed his foot and he let go.
Okay,
but then
let's go much slower.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
You saw a dog charging towards you.
Yes, ma'am.
And
that dog got into an altercation with my
your
dog.
dog.
Yes.
Tell me about that initial altercation.
At first, they were biting each other's muzzles.
Okay, so they were both biting each other's muzzles.
Yes.
Okay.
My dog turned around to try and, I guess,
No, don't tell me what he was trying to do. Your dog turned around.
He kicked the dog in the face.
Your dog kicked his dog in the face.
Yes, he grabbed his leg, punctured it, let it go. Leon kicked him again. This time he grabbed his other leg.
Okay, so your dog kicked that dog again?
Twice, yes.
His dog again?
Yes, ma'am.
And?
That dog that time grabbed his leg, had a good hold, and shook it immediately. And then that's when I knew his leg was broken.
No, don't show me pictures.
Okay.
First I have to find whose fault it is before I look at pictures and vet bills.
Okay.
Okay, now, when you saw his dog charging towards you, and your dog's name is Leon?
Yes, ma'am.
On a leash?
Yes, ma'am.
On a leash. But it's a big dog.
Yes, ma'am.
How much does it weigh?
Leon, 75 pounds.
So about the same as the defendant's dog?
Yes.
And it's a senior dog?
Yes, that is correct.
Has your dog ever had a history with another dog? I'm going to say it again. Has your dog ever had a history of an altercation with another dog?
No, ma'am.
Has your dog ever had a history of an altercation with another person?
No, ma'am.
And I assume if I asked you those questions, you would give me what answer, sir?
I would say no.
You would say no because?
Because my dog has never had any problems with any dogs.
With any dog?
Any dogs, person?
Any other person?
Correct.
So you would acknowledge, Miss Singleton, that I'm going to show you this photograph of Mr. Free's house. And what I'd like you to do is show me where, according to you, Let's get her a different color pen. Do we have a different, well, we have, that's
This is
the same.
blue.
I'd like you to make a P, to just put a P where the dogs first made contact.
Okay. Okay. It's not on this photo.
Is it on this photo? Do you have a photo?
I do have a photo.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Here.
Would you please make
This is his home, and this is where it happened, right underneath the tree.
Put a P there.
Oh, so what you're saying is, where you put the P, that the dog was in the street.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Were you in the street?
I sure was.
I would like you to put a D in this picture where you say, did you see Mr. Free?
I did not until he came and retrieved his animal.
Did you see where he came from?
No, ma'am, I did not.
Did you see anything being assembled in the yard?
Once we were leaving, yes.
And what did you see?
A basketball goal.
A basketball goal?
Yes, ma'am.
And is that what you were putting together, Mr. Free?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you show me where that was, please? It was here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Mr. Free, you're putting something together. The first thing you hear is a kerfuffle, some sort of a...
No.
What do you hear?
Claims dog owner Kevin Free is responsible for injuries after his dog attacked her dog.
No. I actually I saw my dog run across the yard. So.
And? You saw the dog running across the yard.
Well, normally I really don't have a problem
Let me
with
explain
him.
something to you.
Yeah. Okay.
My job that I'm really good at
Okay.
is telling when people are peeing on my leg and trying to tell me it's raining.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, I could tell immediately from your body language that you were beginning to tell me a whole bunch of who shot John. So I suggest to you, Mr. Free, that if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. Now, I want to explain to you why that's so important. Did you hear Miss Singleton? Miss Singleton actually said that her dog nipped yours in the face.
Correct.
She said that.
Correct.
She didn't have to tell me that. She said her dog not only nipped your dog in the face because they were fighting muzzle to muzzle, but afterwards kicked your dog twice. Do you understand? That's what she said.
I heard that, yeah.
That's what she said about that. That's sort of, that's sort of surprising. That would seem to someone.
It surprises me that dogs can get up on their front legs and kick too. So I don't know what she's saying to you, but I don't know. I didn't see any kicking.
Listen to
the fight lasted like 3 seconds. It wasn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you understand when you're not telling the truth, Mr. Free?
Well, I think what you read from me is me responding to a whole bunch of stuff that was said that didn't.
No, what me responding to you is your body English. That's me responding to you because you were putting together this thing, but you said it was here.
Correct. It was in the driveway. It's pretty big.
Well, this isn't a driveway, sir. That's grass. That's what you marked where you were. And you marked where your dog was in the grass.
Asked me where I was.
Just a second.
Not the basketball goal.
No, I asked you where you were.
Yeah,
and you
and
said
that's where
here.
I'm
And then you just said to me, please read it back. Where were you? And you said, I believe he said he was in the driveway.
Correct. It was in the driveway.
I apologize. Excuse me.
Just a second. Driveway.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I do.
Eventually, it noodles its way out, sir. The same way it noodles its way out to, my memory is correct, in your answer you wrote down, you saw them for the first time in the street.
On the, what we call a curve. It's a small slope that comes up from down. Not all the way in the street, no.
No. Here. You see what happens, Mr. Free?
Yeah.
What you just said to me belies credulity.
Well, I'm trying to be as
just a
precise
second,
as I
but
can.
not
Excuse me.
because, you know, I've lived on this planet almost 80 years.
Congrats.
And if I have a choice between walking in the street and walking in that little dip that's designed to take rainwater away, I don't walk in that thing because I'll get killed. I'll break my legs. And you certainly don't walk in this little thing if you're walking two dogs and a child. You don't walk in that little drain that's carved out here to take rainwater away. You walk either on the grass, on everybody's grass,
Correct.
or you walk in the street.
Makes sense.
And you, sir, would have me believe that the plaintiff walked all the way around the block, walking on people's grass. Other than that, she would have to be in the street and decide, well,
Sometimes
I
it's
think I'm going to go up
unavoidable,
on
but
the
no.
grass in this
But no,
guy's
I wouldn't
house.
say that.
What?
Sometimes it's unavoidable, so I'm not saying that at all.
Sir, I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
You're going to pay her vet bills. Your dog was out of your control and was in the street, not on your grass. In the street. You had no control over your dog, an 80-pound puppy. Now, the dog could have, just playfully, knocked over the 3-year-old and hurt the 3-year-old. Could have, didn't. Got into a scuffle with a dog approximately the same size. Her dog was leashed, within her control. Your dog, you had to run from where you were putting this together and come and get your dog.
Your Honor,
That's what you say.
A dog under control doesn't manage to do 2 jump kicks and
It's not a jump kick,
bite.
sir.
No, just a second, sir. You can do that if you're on a leash. Her dog never left her hand.
Your Honor, the injuries was to the hind feet of the dog.
This isn't, Mr. Free, this is,
Okay.
maybe your wife lets you get away with that, sir. I don't. This is not a tap dance. This is not a recital or a rehearsal. You made a picture of where you said this happened.
Yeah.
I don't believe you. That's what it's about. I believe that this occurred on a public street, and on the public street, you had no control of your dog. You decided to let your dog stay outside. You haven't had any trouble with your dog before, so you wouldn't have anticipated that your dog would run out into the street, because if your dog ran out into the street and a car hit it and killed it, whose fault would that be?
That would definitely be mine.
That would definitely be yours, right? Do you think that you might sue the person who hit your dog? You might try. You might try. You might say, oh my God, they should have been going slower. Oh my God. Do you understand? You're the owner. Dogs are animals. They're not as smart as you are. But when your dog charged out into the street, it could just as easily have gotten hit by a car. That would have been your fault. But under those circumstances, you would have said it's the car's fault. Your dog was out in a public street outside of your control, and it's a big dog, and you should be more careful. If you want to keep your dog outside while you're putting something together and keep the dog on your property, put down a stake, put the dog on a lead, and let the dog stay outside with you. But if you let a 12-month-old, 80-pound dog run loose and it runs into the street, you, sir, are responsible for the consequences. What was your vet bill?
It was $1,832.64.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I don't think that I was 100% responsible.
I'm glad it was swift and easy, honestly.
From my perspective, it lasted for about 3 seconds.
I was trying to fight with this man for a while. I'm glad it's over.
Might have happened in that 3 seconds, but it was too fast for my eyes.
Honestly, it was kind of traumatizing, especially since I had a 3-year-old with me and I had to quickly think and just pick him up before the dog got him.
I think they just fought and my dog won.
Bring him to Judy justice, baby.
I watched the show. I know how she gets down, you know?
So, as you know, we have 2 large, pretty docile golden retrievers at home that are now 8 and 12 years old. But even when we have family that comes over, or friends with little children that are curious, that like to come up and pull on the ears a little or play with them, you have to be careful. They're 80 and 90-pound dogs. We've never once had a problem with either of them. But you just never know. You can't control a dog that's 90 pounds, but they're just big. They could knock them over by accident with their tail, just so excited.
Yeah, so you have to be careful. You have a responsibility when you have a big dog.
All parties, please step forward.
Amari Garcia is suing fellow motorist April Tarrant for damages from a motorcycle accident.
This is a case that's about an automobile-motorcycle collision. Each one of you claims that the other is responsible for the collision. Ms. Garcia, you were riding the motorcycle?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were in your car?
Yes.
Okay. And this happened on what date?
March 21st, 2022, around 3 p.m.
In what state?
California.
In the state of California, are you required to have insurance on a motorcycle?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just liability?
Liability if it's paid for in full, correct. Yes, Your Honor.
And were you insured on that date?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were driving a car?
Yes.
And was your car insured on March 21st, 2022?
Not at the time.
So the answer is no?
No.
Did you have a valid driver's license on March 21st, 2022?
Yes.
From what state?
California.
What kind of car were you driving?
A 2011 Nissan Sentra.
Was it a new car for you, or did you have it for a while?
It's a new car. I purchased it 3 weeks prior to the incident.
And if you bought it 3 weeks before, how come you didn't have liability insurance?
I was looking for insurance, and plus, at the time, I hadn't received my paperwork. It was still in the other person's name at the used car dealership that I bought it from.
Your Honor.
I hadn't.
You know you're not supposed to be driving a car, Miss Taryn, without insurance.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. You wanted to say something?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I have proof that April Taryn purchased her vehicle February 8th, 2022. She drove uninsured for 41 days, and it was not from a lot. It was from someone off the street. I have the proof for that.
I'd like to see it.
Yes. Oh, thank you. For $2,050.
Well, this car that you registered, the selling price was $2,050, according to this.
No, it wasn't. And
well, I'm going to show you vehicle and transfer law. This is 2011 Sentra, and it was signed, but it's LLC. That's his company.
Okay.
So it wasn't off the street, but it said the selling price was $2,000. That's what this says.
I don't have my paperwork in my car.
I want to show this to her. I just want to get some basic facts first, and then I'm going to go to the incident.
But that's and
no, the person, the seller.
And you know, I have my paperwork in my car.
Well, but you understand that that's
I understand
what
you said because it's right there. Yes.
Okay, we have a diagram. This happened on March 21st, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You had no insurance, and you were traveling in the bike lane.
No, that is not true. I shared the lane of the car in the right. I would never go into a bike lane. That is disrespectful to the road and riders.
Just a second. Are you allowed to share a lane with a car and a motorcycle?
That is your right, yes.
I know Foothill. Is that where you were?
Yes, Your Honor.
And at a certain time during the day, Foothill becomes very trafficked.
Yes.
And the cars sometimes get stopped because there's a light, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go over to there, Miss Garcia, and show me, please, where you were positioned before you say that you were traveling in the same lane as a car.
Your Honor, I was directly behind this car.
Okay.
Directly behind.
You were directly behind that car.
Yes.
And that car was stopped.
They were slowing to a stop.
No, they were stopped because they had to have been stopped because that's why you went around him.
They were slowing to a stop. By the time I got around here, they were stopped. I didn't want to veer into here. I was slowing down. I was around 25 miles per hour. This lane at the time was too close. So I shared this lane on this side.
Miss Garcia, I got it, Miss Garcia. You want me to appreciate the fact that you wanted to get around the stopped car and you wanted to continue to go straight, correct? You weren't turning. You wanted to go straight.
I was going straight, correct.
And so you want me to picture in this tiny mind of mine that instead of going into a perfectly clear bike lane, you inched your way at 25 miles an hour in the same lane as a stopped car.
Yes.
But
this diagram,
you know, I find that hard to believe, Miss Garcia.
Your
I
Honor,
really find that hard to believe. You may be in the right with regard to this, but I find it hard to believe.
The roads are very wide. I have the actual police photo document of that.
I'd like to see it.
Yes, Your Honor. Right here.
And I'd like to see the police report as well. Is there a police report?
It's attached to this.
Fine. Because as you were traveling straight, the defendant was making a left turn. She was making a left turn because the two cars there were stopped, and those were the only two traffic lanes there. Now, I don't know whether she could see whether it's a motorcycle or a bicycle traveling in the bike lane, but what happened was she was making a left turn. According to this, you went into her passenger side. Is that correct?
Mari Garcia is accusing fellow motorist April Taryn of damaging her motorcycle. April claims Amari was illegally driving in the bike lane.
Who was in the car with you, Miss Taryn?
My son and his girlfriend.
One of them had an injury.
Yes. My son's girlfriend, she was in the driver's passenger side. And while I was turning into the lane, I just felt a crash and saw glass going into my car, and then she was cut.
Okay, and you had an injury to your knee?
Yes, I have several injuries. And I have photos as well.
You understand, Miss Taryn, that the police interviewed witnesses. The witnesses were in the stopped cars.
Yes.
And at the end of all of their interviewing process, they determined that you were the cause of the collision. That's what it says.
And I don't.
It says that you caused the collision by violating Vehicle and Traffic Law 218001, failure to yield when making a left turn. I determined the cause based upon the parties involved and the physical evidence. That's what the police determined. Okay, well, then that's an easy, based upon the police report, because each of you were going to tell two different stories about what happened that day. Police were there, they looked at the physical evidence, they looked at the injuries, they looked at the damage to the roadway, they interviewed independent witnesses, and that was their determination.
I understand, Judge, but the police report had some inconsistencies where, like, she was driving in the bicycle lane, which is against the law. And what I was doing, I was making the left turn, as you know. And these two front cars, which one of them was a witness.
Yes, that car paused to let you make a left turn.
Yes, both lanes. And I was
No, you said both lanes.
Both lanes paused.
Well, that's what you say.
Yes.
That's what you say. That's not what this says.
See, but they both did. And as I was
But I'm just telling you.
No, I know.
Yeah,
that's what
I'm just
said.
telling you. That's not what this is. That's what you say. There was nothing that prevented those two cars from going.
Exactly.
There wasn't a traffic light. There wasn't a stoplight at that spot.
Yes.
And there was heavy traffic.
Yes.
So it's your responsibility to make sure if you're making a left turn that you have to yield to all oncoming traffic.
And
so the fact that you didn't see her is really not relevant. And as long as you understand that this police report supports Ms. Garcia's claim that you caused this accident by making a left turn when you shouldn't have been making a left turn, that's what this says. And that, you know, at the end of the day, it's an accident. That's why it's not called an on purpose. It's called an accident. Neither one of you anticipated it. As far as I'm concerned, Ms. Garcia, you're entitled to be compensated, but I'm going to suggest this to you. If I'm driving a motorcycle, which I would never do, just for me, I think it's wacky. I think there are enough crazy people driving around that I like about 2,000 pounds of steel around me so that if somebody who is not paying attention and there's an accident, I like to be safe. My first car when I was 17, all my friends were getting these cute little cars, you know, that were convertibles, and my father bought me a 15-year-old blue and white Cadillac sedan. It was so embarrassing to drive around in that car. It was a boat. Oh, come on. Everybody else is getting these cute little Corvettes, even if they're used ones. And my father, who loved me a lot, said to me, sweetheart, if you get into the accident, I want you to come out unscathed. And this ensures that you got a shot if you get into an accident. And I feel better. So I'm just telling you, if you're going to drive a motorcycle, don't take shortcuts. I know this place on Foothill, and I know what happened here. You know, you wanted to go, there was no reason why you couldn't. That's why you drive a motorcycle, because you can get into tight places. But you look like an intelligent young woman.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Don't take chances. That was a chance. It could have been a lot worse. What was the damage to your motorcycle?
I have pictures. Would you like to see them, Your Honor?
I would.
I did look it up. Lane splitting motorcycles is legal in California, based on the California Highway Patrol.
Okay, no, I see the pictures. So where is the motorcycle now?
I no longer have it. The towing company, they sold it. They sold it for $70 they claim, and I got hit with collections afterwards. I have the bill for that if you'd like to see that.
How much did you pay for it?
$6,407.
Do you have the bill?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
For my motorcycle, what I paid for, correct?
Yes, what you paid for it. What are you driving around in now?
A 1995 Chevy Baville.
Atta girl! Atta girl. Okay. I'm giving you the value of the motorcycle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Which is $6,407. I'm not splitting whose fault this was, actually, but I'm not awarding you any punitive damages for her. She had injuries in her car. You were slightly injured, but both of you seem fine now. I don't think that you were careful enough when you were going straight and around that car that was stopped. But the defendant didn't have insurance, and she was cited by the police for violation of a traffic law. So I'm giving you the cost of your motorcycle.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff.
This court is adjourned.
So I actually ended up, after the car had made impact with me, the bike went that way, I went up into the air.
It was really frightening.
I hit the ground, I hit on my elbow.
I've never experienced that before.
I was really scared. I thought, like, oh, this is it, my legs are out.
And like I said, I was being cautious and
thankfully I wasn't.
But it ended up in that kind of situation.
Definitely more safely as far as better gear and, you know, like she said, don't take a shortcut or anything of that sort.
So I looked up lane splitting, and in California, it's one of the few states that allows it for motorcyclists. It does say inexperienced riders shouldn't attempt it because, like we see, it's very easy to get hit or for someone not to see you if you're splitting between lanes, but it is legal, so she wasn't in the wrong by lane splitting, but I think it was a sticky situation. You're behind a car, someone's turning.
What does it say if you're injured?
It does say on the Highway Patrol website that you're splitting at your own risk. So any injuries that happen are at your own risk.
So they say if you are lane splitting, it's not illegal.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have injuries as a result of an accident, if you're lane splitting, you're responsible for your own injuries.
It doesn't say it in a legal term that I could really stick to, but it says it's risky. We're acknowledging that it's risky. You have to assume the risk of lane splitting if that's what you choose to do.
Angela Landy is suing her former employee, Alishani Wyatt, for stealing clients and breaching their employment agreement.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2112, Landy versus Wyatt.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Miss Wyatt, when did you become an esthetician?
I was licensed as an esthetician in March of 2021.
Okay. Miss Landy, this is what your case is about. You hired Miss Wyatt for your business. You have a spa business. Is that what it is?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
How long have you had the business?
I've been in operations as an S Corp since 2016. I worked for myself as a sole proprietor since 2009.
How many employees did you have in 2020 and 21?
In 2020, it was during the pandemic. We were shut down most of the time. In 2021, there was up to 5 employees, not including myself, Your Honor. It was 6 of us total.
Does that include Miss Wyatt?
It does, Your Honor.
When did she start working for you?
She started working for me in February of 2021 as a receptionist. I hired her as a receptionist.
Okay. Not an esthetician?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Were you going to school at the time?
I was not hired in February. I didn't get my license until March of 2021.
What the plaintiff says is you were hired in February. She probably has documents to work as a receptionist.
I was not hired. I didn't even have my license then.
Did you have any proof that she started in February?
Your Honor, I have proof that she...
Was she on your payroll?
She was on my payroll.
Okay, so that's
what we have document of in that is that she started brand new as a receptionist. Maybe it was in March of 21.
Okay.
I have my first paycheck stub.
I'd like to see it.
Okay.
This is a pay stub from April.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is your claim. Your claim is that when Miss Wyatt came to work for you, subsequently as an esthetician, which she was, because she counted her among your 6 employees in 2021, that she had signed a contract which provided for certain restrictions should she leave. You don't have that contract.
I cannot find it. It was supposed to be.
You don't have that contract.
Nope.
Miss Wyatt, when you went to work for the plaintiff, do you recall signing a document?
I do recall signing documents stating like what my job title was and like the documents that would go towards what we went over and things like that for training purposes.
Okay.
Your Honor, I have non-solicitation, non-disclosure agreement documents of employees. There's 4.
Okay. Is this an employee of yours?
No, it is not, Your Honor.
Ever? Was ever?
Never been an employee.
Were either one of those 2 people employees, former employees?
Tabitha Brown was.
Was this a former employee of yours?
Tabitha Brown was a former employee.
At approximately the same time?
She was an employee of mine for 5 years up until April 17th, Your Honor.
Did she voluntarily leave or did you?
She voluntarily left.
Okay. Did she voluntarily leave to go to work with the defendant?
I did not know that until the day defendant left.
But ultimately you determined that she did?
Sure did.
Okay. She was with you for 5 years?
Sure. Yes.
I assume that if you have a business and you don't have this contract, which you allege if you could produce, had a specific non-compete clause in it, but you don't have it. She remembers signing something, but she doesn't remember exactly what it was. Can you stand up? Tell me your name.
Tabitha Brown.
Miss Brown, did you sign a contract when you went to work for the plaintiff?
Yes, I didn't remember that I
You
did.
did?
Yes.
But you did?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a copy of her?
I sure do. And
Just a second.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of it?
I don't.
No, but you have a copy of what she signed?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
Your Honor.
No. Just
Okay.
let me see the copy. I'm trying to reconstruct something just to get some general parameters of this case. Tabitha Brown, March 22nd, 2022.
Yes.
Different.
Oh.
That is not the non-solicitation, non-disclosure agreement. That's a different agreement. Those are contracts she has signed.
Oh, well, you gave me two things. What is this?
One is her non-disclosure, non-solicitation, and also the second one is the role definition of an esthetician working for me.
Looking at the non-compete. Okay, this is pretty standard. Kevin, would you show this to Miss Brown? And I also want you to show it to Miss Wyatt. That clearly your signature.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And so that says within 1 year of your leaving Miss Landy's employment, you will not work in a related field within 7 miles from her current place of business.
Yes.
When you left her employment, did you go to work with Miss Wyatt?
We left to share. Yes.
The answer is either yes or no. So you did. You
Yes.
went to work with Miss Wyatt. And when you went with Miss Wyatt, that was sometime in 2022.
Yes, ma'am.
What month?
May of 2022.
Your Honor, that's incorrect.
Shh. Don't. I'm not needing your help.
Okay.
Angela Landy claims her former employee, Alishani Wyatt, stole clients and breached their employment agreement.
Now, does Miss Wyatt have a location, a shop, a store, a place of business, or does she operate out of her residence?
We share a space.
You share a space where?
At the Salon Studios in Valencia.
Have you calculated the distance between that space and Miss Landy's office?
I have, ma'am.
And how far is it?
3.4 miles.
Well, you're not allowed to do that, pursuant to the terms of your agreement.
Correct. I don't have a copy of that agreement, ma'am.
Well,
I have it now, but at the time I didn't. It's from 5 years ago, and I never received a copy of that. So it was.
I don't know whether you received a copy of it or not. It's your signature, and it's pretty standard fare.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that it's not standard fare. So, Miss White, what I have to do is sort of put together whether or not I believe that you, in fact, had the same document that you signed.
Correct.
And I believe that you did.
Okay.
Right, the fact she says that you probably took it when you left. I can't describe that conduct to her, but this is pretty standard fare that within 1 year it's not too onerous, it's not within a 50-mile radius, it's a 7-mile radius. 3.5 miles is certainly well within that. You could have found some place that was 8 miles away, and then we wouldn't be in this difficulty, but you didn't. Anyway, so you were in violation of your contract when you left and went to work and shared space with Miss Wyatt. Okay, but you're not suing her.
No, ma'am.
Why?
Because I know the case would be dismissed because of the lack of solicitation between clients and of a former employee.
Well, not necessarily. Those two stand alone.
Your Honor, if I may say, there was a small claims action against Tabitha, but because there was no evidence.
What do you mean there was no evidence?
I had no evidence, the way I have evidence today with Alishani, that Tabitha solicited clientele.
Okay. Now you can sit down.
Thank you.
So that small claims case was dismissed?
Yeah, I have nothing there, which I learned. I have nothing to stand on what I have to stand on today.
Well, what you had to stand on, Miss Landy, which I don't understand, you had a non-compete agreement with her. She's in violation of that agreement. That's all you need. And she violated this agreement. She went to work within 7 miles of your place of business. So I don't understand that. In this case, you don't have a physical signed contract. I have to reconstruct whether I believe that there was one. So I don't see why you think that you have all documentation.
I don't have documentation.
That's what I'm saying.
Due to the fact that I believe she stole the information out of my filing cabinet.
I don't know whether she did or not. Right now, you say it's a lost document. You can't find it.
Correct.
Okay. And the defendant acknowledges, and it's usually custom and practice in the business to sign a non-compete when you have that kind of service industry. Right. And I'm prepared to accept judicial notice of the fact that when you go to work for a beauty salon or a hair salon or a spa, you develop a clientele within the spa. You can't open up a store next door and steal the clients. Most people have people sign this, and you did, and you had it done 5 years ago. So Ms. Brown is in violation of this contract.
That is correct.
Why somebody dismissed that, I don't know. I have no idea. Okay. So now you're going to demonstrate to me that Miss Wyatt solicited clients of yours.
Yes,
Show me.
Okay. In July of 2021, Alashani was trained to be an esthetician.
Let's not go back to ground zero. I'm not interested. I am assuming for the purposes of this hearing that she signed a non-compete clause, just as Ms. Brown did. So let's start from there, and I asked you a very simple question. I said, what proof do you have that she solicited clients when she left?
Your Honor, my solicitation is here.
Fine, I'd like to take a look at it.
And my witness, Kennedy, is here as well.
Well, let's go to Miss Kennedy. Was Miss Kennedy a client of yours?
Yes, Your Honor.
Would you stand up, please? Your first name?
Kennedy. Kennedy.
Last name?
Johnson.
Ms. Johnson, how long had you been a client of Miss Landy's spa?
I want to say about 2019, Your Honor. I was there before the pandemic and was there for a while before it shut down due to COVID.
Were you there after it reopened?
Yes.
After COVID. What kind of work do you have done there?
I get sugared, which is using sugar, lemon, and I believe it's honey and water, and you mix it together and it takes hair off of you.
And who did that for you?
I went through many of the clientele and the employees at Angela's shop at the time. So there were several people that, Alicia was one of them, as well as Tabitha.
How many times did the defendant do the waxing? Sugaring.
I want to say at least 5 times.
Do you recall when she left Miss Landry's?
I do not remember the date. However, I do remember getting a call from her company. I got a call saying...
From Miss Landry's company?
Yes.
Yes.
Your Honor, it's Landy.
Landy.
Yes, from Miss Landy's company. They had called me on my cell phone and told me that she was no longer there. And they had told me she was no longer there.
You can't tell me what somebody from her shop told you. That's hearsay. I want to know about the solicitation. If there was.
Yes. So one point while Alicia, the defendant, was there.
Sorry. Do you understand?
Yes. While the defendant was there, I had gotten sugared on my face. It was a small patch test. And after she had texted me, gave me her personal number, and told me if I had any reaction to text her and let her know. After I texted her, I had...
And this was while she was working for the plaintiff?
Yes, that is correct.
Go ahead.
And as a while, I started having a small reaction, and I had texted her and sent her a picture of my face and told her that I was starting to have a small reaction. I did not receive anything back for a little bit, and then I want to say around April, late March.
Well, when did you text her?
This text for the face patch was earlier, I want to say early March, maybe February.
Do you have the text?
I believe she gave it to you.
The third one, Your Honor.
What date did Miss Wyatt leave your employ?
April 22nd is when I got her immediate resignation.
April 22nd, 2022. And is this what you're referring to? Hey, Kennedy, I forgot to tell you, if you wanted to book with me again, I could put you in my books. I'll be in Valencia.
That's correct.
And is Valencia where your shop is?
3.2 miles away, Your Honor.
No. Answer my question. I have a question. Is Valencia where your shop is?
No.
That's my question. Why don't you just answer my question?
Angela Landy has accused her former employee, Alashani Wyatt, of taking her clients and breaking their agreement.
So Valencia is not where your shop is. Valencia is where your place of business is.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So you left on the 22nd, is that correct?
That's correct.
On the 20th, 2 days before, you tell Miss Kennedy, because I assumed that this was a planned move of yours, that she could reach you again at your new place of business in Valencia.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, you're not allowed to do that.
During the services. It's a very intimate service. So you start to gain a relationship with these clients. And through that time, I felt like I had gained a relationship. It wasn't just a client with Kennedy. So
You met her
Yes.
through the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor.
You started to work on her through the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor.
She had other people work on her other than you.
Yes.
She may have liked you better than the other people. That doesn't diminish the fact that you knew that you weren't supposed to solicit clients. You knew that. I believe that you knew that.
Yes.
Because that's standard fare. So your excuse is you thought you developed a personal relationship with her.
Correct, Your Honor.
How many other people did you develop a personal relationship with?
Majority of the clients that I had who were returning clients of mine, I felt like I had built personal relationships with.
If you're patching around with somebody's face or scrubbing their body or giving them a scrub to get hair off on every part of the body, then you develop an intimate relationship with somebody. Now, your first name is Kennedy?
Yes.
Kennedy, did you ever go out to dinner with Miss Wyatt?
No, I did not.
She ever invite you to her house?
No, she did not.
Was the only time you ever saw Miss Wyatt while you were having a service?
That is correct.
You see, that's not an intimate relationship. That's just stealing clients, Miss Wyatt.
Okay.
So my question to you is, you're seeking damages, okay? Did you seek injunctive relief?
No, Your Honor.
Why not?
I didn't know about injunctive relief. In addition, because of the staff leaving, because of solicitation, admitted solicitation by Alishani to my attorney, and I have a sworn affidavit for that. Because of that, I ordered them a cease and desist, and they ignored the cease and desist. Alishani told my attorney that she did not
No, you can't
solicit.
jump up.
Hearsay.
You can't tell me what she told your attorney. Do you understand?
Even if I have an affidavit?
Is your attorney in the military?
No, I just have a notarized affidavit.
From whom?
My
From
attorney.
Her? No, I don't take affidavits from attorneys. Okay. It's ridiculous. Are you still in operation, Miss Wyatt?
Yes, Your Honor.
How many people work for, with, or to you?
It's just me. I have my own personal LLC, and she has her own personal LLC, so none of our money is combined.
Miss Wyatt, how many of your former clients from Miss Landy's business followed you?
I would say a good portion. I don't have an exact number.
Yes.
Here you go.
Now, just tell me.
I would say at least.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
I don't want you to say I would say at least. I assume you have names, people.
I have names and people. Here.
How many of your clients
20.
went to Miss Wyatt?
20.
Not was solicited. Follow me very carefully. Not solicited by her, but actually left your business to go with her.
Actually left my business to go with her.
20.
Yes, Your
Honor. I'd like to see. Does that sound right, Miss Wyatt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then I don't have to see. She says that that's about right.
Your Honor, I would also like to add that after I left, she did send out a mass text allowing all of the clients who had ever seen me to be aware that I was no longer there. So that also allowed more clients to reach out to me in different aspects.
No, my dear, you made the mistake.
Okay.
You made the mistake by opening up an office within a 7-mile radius, which you can't do.
Okay.
You solicited her clients. I thought maybe just 1 or 2, but 20, that's a lot of clients. 20 recurring clients is a lot of clients. Miss Landy's request in her small claims case is the maximum of the jurisdiction, which is $10,000. And I think that she deserves every penny of that.
Okay.
Because what you did was wrong and a breach of your contract with her. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
And I have to tell you something. That's ongoing.
Okay.
Just so that you're aware.
I felt like the work environment was very unstable.
I have so many people to testify, including employees, that it's not a hostile work environment.
And I was constantly anxious there.
I was doing so much to improve the quality of the business by changing policies and procedures.
I had to do what was best for me and my family. I'm a single mom, so
hiring a business coach, working with an HR team.
Let the better business win, I guess.
The better business has won.
I was a little bit confused. Maybe you can shed some light on it for me. Why the plaintiff wouldn't sue for injunctive relief, because injunctive relief is suing not so much for damages, but to get someone to stop doing something. So in this case, it seemed to me that the proper ask per se, would be injunctive relief to stop the defendant from operating her business in violation of her contract. But she didn't do that. She sued for damages instead. And I just think that this same problem could keep happening, that I think it's a good lesson for people to educate themselves or hire a lawyer to find the proper relief. Because what's to say that this is going to stop today? I'm sure she'll keep seeing the 20 clients.
Well, she's going to keep seeing the 20 clients. This judgment today was more compensatory than punitive, because if she had taken one client with her, well, she's in violation of the contract, and some token violation would have been appropriate. But she took 20 clients with her.
I got the feeling from you that you weren't exactly in line with the $10,000 number until you heard about
I heard
20
the 20.
clients.
I mean, that's really
whole business,
some
really.
sort of chutzpah to knowing, and I believe she absolutely knew, she's a smart cookie, knowing that you had a non-compete, because her friend, who she also took with her, had the same documents signed in 2017. So, and she's clearly a businesswoman, so that would be a consistent practice of hers. I don't know who took the contract out of the file cabinet. It's for another day. I reconstructed it. I actually don't know why she wouldn't sue for injunctive relief as well as punitive damages. It would have been an option for her.
Mary Totsekian is suing her former landlord, Kazi Ahmed, for a security deposit, invasion of privacy, and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case number 2047, Totsekian versus Hamad.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You had a house.
Yes.
Where?
In Sun Valley.
When did you purchase the house?
I purchased it 4 years ago.
How much did you pay for it?
We purchased it for $585, I believe.
And you sold that house to Mr. Ahmed, what month and year?
We sold it in, I believe it was January.
Of 2022?
Yes.
And you sold it for how much?
$574.5.
Where did you move to?
I moved to Palmdale.
Did you buy something else?
Yes.
And Mr. Ahmed, you took a mortgage out?
Yes.
How much is your mortgage?
I bought the house February 15, 2022, not January, and I pay for it $710,000.
So you paid $710,000?
Yes.
Not $574,000? No. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I might not be remembering the exact amount.
Well, that's a big, not exactly. $574,000 to $710,000 is a big difference.
Yeah, it was $710,000.
In one case you lost money. In one case, you made money.
It was $710,000. I apologize.
Okay, so $710,000.
Yes.
Yes, honor.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How much is your mortgage payment each month?
$5,100.
Okay, and when you sold Mr. Ahmed the house, you didn't have a place to go, according to your complaint, and you asked for a rent back.
I was in escrow.
But you didn't have a place to go, whether you were in escrow or in an igloo in Eskimo, it doesn't mean anything. You didn't have a place to go.
Correct.
So you asked them if you could stay in the house and rent it from them. How many people are there in your family?
My family, it's 3 kids.
So who was living in the house? You,
It was me, my husband, and I have my 2 sons that are with me. My daughter doesn't live with me.
So you asked if you could rent the house back for a few months. He was nice. He said yes. How much rent did he ask for?
He asked for $4,000.
He asked for $4,000?
Yes, for 3 bedrooms, he asked for $4,000.
Your Honor,
He never,
no.
Just a second. He asked for $4,000 even though his mortgage was $5,100?
$4,000. I paid a whole total together with everything with security deposit, and I paid $12,000.
No. That's not what I'm asking with security deposit. That's what we're here for your security deposit.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, how much did he originally ask you?
$4,000 was the.
Okay, well, that was pretty generous of him to ask for $4,000, considering his mortgage was $5,100, and he doesn't know you from a hole in the wall. So that makes him a very nice person to rent it back to you, so that he's at a loss every month of $1,100. Do you understand?
Yes, I do understand.
Great. And what you're doing here is you want your deposit back.
Yes, that's correct.
$4,000. And Mr. Ahmed says that not only did he have to spend $4,000 to fix the damage you and your family caused to the house while you were living there for those few months, but he had to spend an additional $6,000. That's what he says. He had to spend an additional $6,000 because the place was destroyed, because you had a disagreement with him over the date that you were going to be receiving your deposit back. That's his claim. So there were a couple of things that were sort of questionable to me.
I
Madam.
have not damaged though. I have pictures of the house when I left.
Just
there
a
was
sec.
no damage.
That's a fine.
Lot.
You're going to show them to me.
Okay.
The one thing that I found strange, so now I have the facts straight. So you moved into the house in February?
In the house?
Yes.
Yes.
So you rented in February and March?
Yes.
2 months.
We moved out April 6th.
Okay. Now, you told him you were moving out, and he came to the house to do an inspection. And that was before your move-out date. On what date did you meet together for him to go through the house? And let me refresh your recollection. You came to the house. He walked around with you. And at that time, he said these few things need repair. And there was not extensive damage anywhere. And when he got to the house, he rang the bell and he opened the door and you looked through the house.
Yes.
On what date was that? Do you remember?
The day that I gave him my keys to the door.
No. That's not the date you moved out. That's the date that he came there to do a walkthrough with you, your husband, and or children. I don't know who was there. And
Your Honor, he made a lot of walkthroughs.
no, I'm asking the last one that he
The
made.
last one?
Yes.
The last one he did, I don't remember the exact date, but he had like 4 or 5
Do you
walkthroughs.
remember the date? What was the date?
March 23.
And when you went to the house on March 23rd, and they had been living there February, all of February, and most of March. Was the house in pretty good shape on March 23rd? Was it in the same shape on March 23rd when you saw it on April 6th?
Yes, because when I saw the damages of my house, I request her, what is this? I show her.
No, just a second. What did you show her?
About the floor damage, wall damage, and there is...
Oh, well, show me on the pictures that you took on March 23rd.
Okay.
He probably damaged it himself from his construction that he did.
Just a second.
He did construction while I was living there. For the whole 2 months I was there, he did construction.
Okay.
You know what I find problematic in both your complaint and
I would
answer?
like to pass my evidence.
Just a second. I'm going to tell you what I find difficult in both your complaint and his answer. That when you left the house, you took the doorbell with you. When you left the house, you took the doorbell with you. Now, he bought the house. He's paid you for the house. You've got $710,000. On the day the house closed, there is no question in my mind that there was a doorbell. Okay. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have no right to take anything from that house once it's sold. You're a renter.
Your Honor, I believe I do because on the document it says the only thing that I'm supposed to leave for him is the washer and dryer and stove.
Madam, that's something. Have you never bought property before, or are you just trying to be obtuse? I would never think I bought and sold dozens of homes. Never in one contract. In all, and I'm a lawyer, my husband's a lawyer, grandchildren are lawyer, my children are lawyers. Not in one contract does it ever talk about a doorbell. It is assumed that you leave the doorbell, that you leave the toilets, that...
No, that was not a doorbell, it was a Ring camera.
I don't care if it was a Ring camera, I don't care if it was an MGM camera or a universal picture camera. It's not yours. It's part of the property. You have no right to take it. Period. Put your hand down. Sometimes when it doesn't appear that you're losing, you're supposed to be quiet. Do you understand? You have no right to take certain things. Once the house is sold, nothing there belongs to you. Nothing. You're a renter.
That was before the house was...
Just a second. Are you telling me that when you stayed there, after the house was sold, for the 2 months that you lived there, are you telling me you lived without a doorbell? Are you telling me that you lived without a doorbell? No, you lived with a doorbell.
It's a Ring. Your Honor, it's a Ring camera.
I don't care what it is.
It was not the doorbell. It's not the doorbell. It's a Ring camera. You can take it off and take it to your next property. That's something that I bought.
You bought a lot of things in that house, I'm sure. Did you buy wallpaper? Did you buy flooring? Did you buy carpeting? You can't take it. It doesn't belong to you. It travels with the property. When you say it's a Ring camera, when you ring the doorbell, does that activate the Ring camera?
Yes, it does.
And when you took out the whole Ring camera, did you put in a doorbell?
The doorbell was already there. I never touched the doorbell. That's why I took the camera, the Ring camera, because that belongs to me. I bought that. I didn't touch the doorbell. That's part of the house. That's part of the property. It's in the wall.
Can I see a picture of what she took?
My doorbell is not here. Here is the point.
I did not touch the doorbell. Again, he did a lot of remodeling. He probably did all the damages himself. He's trying to blame it on me.
No, that's
You're not allowed to take it. Period.
I have a lot of evidence.
You're not allowed to take it now. So I'm starting with your case. You want your deposit back.
Yes.
This gets deducted from your deposit. Did you replace this?
Not yet.
Did you get an estimate for its replacement?
Yes, I did.
I'd like to see it.
Okay. And not only doorbell, Your Honor. She took the curtain rods and also all the light bulbs.
Just a second.
Okay. Give me some time.
I don't have time.
Can I please explain what really happened and what I went through with this guy from day one?
No.
He let me
Right
rent?
here.
No.
Because I want to prove my case because he's wrong and he's a crook.
No. Madam, you rented the house.
Yes.
For $4,000 a month.
Yes.
A 3-bedroom house.
I paid him
amount. And you paid him the amount. And you stayed there. If there was something wrong with the house, or if you didn't like the fact that he was doing construction there, or he was coming in and out of the house, even though he was renting it to you for $1,100 less than his mortgage payment, okay? You could have moved.
Your Honor, let me just tell you that he promised me from day... He kept texting me over and over, bringing renters to show my side of the place to live. While we were living there, he harassed me every day by text messages and phone calls. Can I show the house? Every single day?
Who cares? I don't care.
But that caused a lot of tension to my family.
I don't care. Move.
Mary Totzikian claims her former landlord, Kazi Ahmed, refused to return her security deposit and harassed her. Kazi is countersuing for vandalism.
Now, if you didn't like to live in a place where you were being constantly harassed, you and your husband now have $110,000 profit from selling your house.
I gave him a $10,000 discount on that property. And he
did you understand what I just said to you? Move. Say, listen, it's not working out. You're bringing too many people in and out of the house. It's not working for me. Wait just a second. We'd like to move out before. Did you ever say that to him? The answer is no.
Because I had a lease with him.
Did you ever?
Deposit
Just a second.
Yes.
Did you ever say that to him? I would like to give you your property back earlier. We don't need it for 2 months because I don't want to be harassed. We're going to move out into a hotel until our house is ready. But you stayed there.
No, I told him that we can't keep having people come and knock on our door.
Okay.
I made it very
Madam, you're not getting compensated for that. You're a big girl. You made a lot of money on this house. You asked for a deal for him to rent it back to you. He said, fine. He's going to tell me that he wanted to have his mortgage covered, and you were not prepared to do that, and you were not prepared to do that.
Your Honor, let me just tell you, the living situation for that 2 months that I was there was hell with him. He caused me all kinds of anxiety. The last day when I was supposed to give him the keys so I can leave, he opened the door and started arguing with me in front of my 11-year-old kid. He made him cry. He caused a lot of trauma to our family.
Your Honor, her son was not there.
He's a monster. He doesn't care about anything else. And then he did remodeling. Now he's trying to get the money out of me to pay for it because he's broke. That's
okay. First of all, this comes off the deposit, and then I want to see the estimate.
All I want is my $4,000 security deposit.
Well, I'm not sure you're going to get it.
His rent on time, just like a good renter.
Okay.
But all I wanted was my deposit back. That's it.
On March 23rd of this year, when he came to do an initial walkthrough with you before you were leaving, did you discuss deposit? The answer is yes. Just a second.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yes.
And at that time, did he say to you, this needs fixed, this needs fixed? Did he say anything to you? Nothing. Did he tell you that he had, by law, 21 days to return your deposit?
Yes.
Okay, and what did you say to him?
I said, that's fine, I will wait the 20 days, but
No, just a second.
Yes.
You said it was fine. I'll wait the 20 days.
Yeah, to get my deposit, yes.
Okay. And then what happened?
I have every text that we sent to each other.
I'm not reading every text that you sent to each other. I'm asking you after March 23rd. Go to your March 23rd texts.
I do have here.
He basically said
basically. I said go to your March 23rd and thereafter
I highlight, Your Honor, for you.
After March 23rd.
Yes.
Go to do you have text messages? That's
yes,
what you said. You're looking at me.
Okay. I have a March 23 here. He led me on in the text messages saying that you help me pay my mortgage, I will help and give you a security
I'm
deposit
asking
back.
you to show me
It's
the
right
text messages after March 23rd.
This is the March 23rd.
And thereafter, you pay deposit back when there isn't any damage to the house. You don't use my deposit for anything else. You hold it for damages. Here is the notice. I would like you to meet with you and your husband. Please let me know when you are available. Please don't threaten me with my deposit.
I wasn't.
He was threatening me.
I wasn't.
Just please don't threaten me. You mean threaten me with my deposit. Can you show me where on the contract it says the washer and dryer stays?
That I found, it stays, and we did leave it there.
She tried to take with her that too.
Again, Your Honor, I'm just here for my deposit because I did my responsibilities and paid the rent. I was a good tenant. I kept the house beautifully clean and everything. I deserve my deposit back. That's why I'm here. I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to see him ever again. I just want my deposit.
I know what you want.
That's it.
That's why we're in court. If he felt as if you deserved your deposit, he would
And
have
if
given you.
I left the house perfect, he needs to give it to me because I didn't do no damages to that property.
Okay.
He's lying.
Can you show me where the contract says the washer and dryer stays because I don't see it? I made it very clear to everyone that I paid for it, that it's going with me.
That was before I looked at the document.
Just a second.
Yes.
So that's before you looked at the document?
Yes.
When did you look at the document?
I looked at it, it was at home when I noticed it.
Did you respond to him after the 23rd and say to him, I realize that the washer and dryer
No,
stays?
because he's been threatening me constantly. Why am I going to respond to him? He's been a monster.
Can you please show me photographs of what the house looked like?
He's been a complete monster,
Show me
Your Honor.
Just a second. Show me what the house looked like on April 6th.
This is the pictures I have. This is what it looks like. Perfect
Just
little house.
Don't speak. Just show me.
I'm just trying to say that I'm not here for anything empty. I'm here for my deposit.
No, that's not what you're here for, just your deposit, madam. That's not what you filed a claim for. An invasion of privacy and pain and suffering. There's a whole bunch of things that you're suing for. Okay. I see these pictures.
The house is in
just a second.
great shape.
Just a second. And is this your little dog?
Yes, it is. The house is in great shape. He has no complaints.
He's going to show me pictures. I'm going to look at them.
I deserve my deposit back. That's all I know. He wasted my time. He lied to me.
Can I see your photographs of what the house looks like?
Your Honor, this is the picture when I bought the property with good condition.
Okay.
And this is the picture for she intentionally damaged.
Don't tell me what you intentionally did.
Sure, this is the damages picture.
I didn't do that.
I'm going to dismiss your case. Do you understand? 1, 2, 3. It will be my joy. Anybody who takes out a doorbell ring or whatever it is and leaves holes and mollies in the wall, which is exactly what you did, just like the washer and dryer. Okay.
Your Honor, this is the previous.
Don't speak. Okay. Now I'd like to see the photographs that you took April 6th or thereafter. When did you take those photographs? On what day?
I start March 23rd to April 6th.
I'd like to see the photographs.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No, some of this damage, sir, that were in the door hinges, that's not damage that they did. That's not damage that I can ascribe to them. There are some holes in the walls. I know you're showing me this. That you have to deal with.
Totsikyan accuses her former landlord, Kazi Ahmed, of keeping her security deposit and harassing her. Kazi claims Mary vandalized his house before she left.
Okay, I don't know what this is that you're showing me in this picture.
Because there is a water leak from there. So the water goes in the cabinet inside.
Okay.
Okay.
I assume that you have some sort of insurance because they didn't do this damage.
Okay.
They didn't do this damage when they were there. I would like, sir, to see some of the pictures before and after. This is moldy and it's dirty. So they didn't clean the bathtub. Where are you living now, sir?
With my mom.
And who's living in the house?
I rented out.
What's the name of the people that you rented the house to?
Is Walter.
When did you rent it? On what date?
I don't remember exact date.
Well, you remember everything else. You remember April 6th, you remember March 23rd. Now remember what day they came.
Okay. June.
So actually the house was, just a second, so actually the house was unrented for about a month and a half.
Right. Because I...
Shh, not a because. Now, how much did you rent the house for to Walter?
$4,000.
Could you explain to me why you're renting it to somebody for less than what you pay in your mortgage?
Sure. So here is the American dream because I came here 2013 and I start live with my mom. So me and my wife working so hard to buy the house. We save every penny day by day and we saw a lot of house last couple years.
Listen, don't tell me your life story. I want to know why you're renting the house for less than your mortgage payment.
Because, no, the people is very nice and they said they're going to increase the rent January. They give me 5,000. That's why.
Do you have a lease with them?
I do.
You have a lease with them. And
yes.
Does the lease indicate that the rent is being raised
yes.
in January?
Yes.
What?
That whole thing that he said that his place was not rented for a month, that's a lie because he was renting the place out while I was living there. So he had renters all in the backside.
Just a second, you mean they were living with you?
They were living in that back house. That house is split with a wall, so there's empty rooms in the back. So he was literally renting it out, boom, boom, like right away.
Just a second.
While I was there.
Is what you're telling me that there are two sources of income from that house?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Mr. Ahmed.
Yes.
Listen to me carefully.
Sure.
How many tenants do you have in that house?
3.
Shh.
Oh.
Look at me.
Sure.
How many tenants? You have Walter,
yes.
and he pays you $4,000.
Yes.
You have another tenant.
Yes.
Okay, and the other tenant is in the back.
Yes.
And what does the other tenant pay you?
Okay, the one.
No, that's a figure.
Oh,
what does
okay.
the other tenant pay you? Don't look up there. You know exactly how much?
3,000.
3,000. So you cover your mortgage and you make a little money.
Yeah.
Now, while she was living there, pay attention.
Yes.
While she was living there, were you renting the back?
Yes.
Yes. And how much were you getting?
Okay.
That's a number. Okay. Before you answer the question, think. How much were you getting from the people in the back?
Same.
Same what?
Because that's not my...
But just a second. What do you mean the same? The same as what?
The people used to live there long time with her. That's her tenant, not mine. She just transferred to me.
I see. So you had a tenant living in the back.
Yes.
You had a tenant living
Yes,
in the
Your
back.
Honor.
And what was the rent that you were charging your tenant?
I sold my property to him as is. I did have tenants there. Yes, I did. And one of the tenants, I'll tell you right now.
No, I want to know what rent the tenant was paying you.
That's what I'm saying.
Just give me that's a number, not a story.
1,000, and I would say 2,000 altogether.
Sounds to me as if everybody did very well. You have to pay for the doorbell. Now I want a receipt for the doorbell. The rest of the pictures are nonsense. And you had no loss of income. Just a second. I want the estimate for the doorbell. That's what I want. That's going to be deducted from the... Put your hand down. Otherwise, you're gone. Do you understand? Doorbell.
$84.
$84.
Yes, something like that.
Do the math for me. I think it's $3,900, whatever. $4,000 less 84.
$39.16.
$39.16. Sir, I've looked at your photographs, and I don't see any damage that you can ascribe to the plaintiff that I think mitigates in your favor, other than the doorbell, which I actually find outrageous.
Right, Your Honor.
And you had no loss of income. So clearly what you did was purchase this house, and you make an income from this house every month.
After I pay my mortgage, and there is a service, like expenses, and also there is a like utilities bill is so expensive now.
I don't care. $39.16. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaims dismissed. We are finished with this case.
Right.
Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
I deserve my security deposit back. I did very well with paying the rent, and I feel like this was fair.
I'm not happy about it because I'm the buyer and I bought the house. There is a lot of damages after she moved out.
He was pretty much texting and having renters come and knock on my door every day without even giving me a notice ahead of time.
I was always giving to her 2-3 days notice to go in the property.
It was not easy, but you know, we moved on to something better, so.
She's still living in the American dream.
You know, this case is sort of an example of you read a complaint and you read an answer, and you sort of have a predetermination of what the case might look like and how that shifts. Because when I originally saw these people, I said, you know, she took the doorbell and the ring thing with her. Why? And it was with the washer and dryer. She said, I'm taking it. It was in the contract that it stayed. But then when I got to know both of these people, Sarah, they were both a little bit of hustlers. Nobody told me up front that there was a back apartment that they rented. And I said, why was this guy being such a good guy?
Yeah. And he didn't say,
title?
well, actually, I'm not that great of a guy. I rent the backside and cover my expenses.
I rent the back for $3,000 and it all covers his expenses. They actually, both of them, deserved each other a little bit. He didn't deserve another $6,000 in addition to the $4,000 because I didn't see that much in damage. I mean, you looked at some of the pictures.
I saw some of the photos, and it looked like
holes, you know, from pictures in the wall.
But not like what he was describing in his answer, like punched holes in the wall and ripped up flooring. We didn't see any of that.
There was nothing. Anyway, she made a lot of money.
He's doing just fine.
And he's doing just fine.
Hello, xin chào các bạn. Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn tô màu bức tranh một bé trai đang thơm vào má của mẹ của mình này. Hãy cùng bắt tay vào tô với mình nhé. Mái tóc vẫn lại dùng màu đen. Vậy là chỉ với ít phút mình đã hoàn thiện xong bức tranh ngày hôm nay rồi đấy. Các bạn hãy cho mình biết ý kiến của các bạn về bức tranh này nha. Bây giờ còn mình xin được kết thúc ở đây. Đừng quên nhấn like và follow kênh ủng hộ cho mình nha. Bye bye, hẹn gặp lại các bạn.